Like the grips on this one. Yes. That's going in the playlist. Wind that back. What you doing to the beat there? Ooh, fragmentation on the track. It's not even fucking over yet. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, what a beat. Yes, sir. That's a yoinkity splinker if I've ever heard one for the morning. Speaking of yoinkity splinkers, I have to sit down and actually write lyrics to that fucking opening. And I gotta find a beat to put behind it. Ah! Fucking fanboy chun chum ass beat. But actually. This is just multiple songs, yeah? Yeah, that will definitely get strict. That's who definitely gets strict. We can't play that. I'll be able to play this. Alright. Let's get glorpy. Some glorpy ass bass lines to be dramatic. Hello. What is on the docket? We have several things. We have an update to the Buffalo situation. Some have noticed that I also dropped a video before I went live today. I worked on it early this morning, which means I'm slowly making my way through my editing backlog. And there are other things as well. I have notes on them. I've been busy putting together shit. I just came from a conversation talking to Cassie before I went live, and I am here now in front of you on the screen, playing the yoinkity splinkers that you know to expect. And I'm going through the backlog of some of the edits that I haven't done for sound effects to bring them into the server as sounds to then put onto the soundboard as clips for people. So all that and more coming up next on Single Player Carl. My free trial ends in 9 days. You need to remember that. This rip Skype? Yeah, I read. 20 years of service, and it's being depreciated just like every other service that's come before it, because they all have given way to the new greater thing that makes it easier for people to be involved in the thing. Like, I don't feel bad about it. Like, it's an era of my life that has just basically gonna go up in smoke, but at the same time, I don't talk to any of the people that I was talking to on Skype. Not relevant, not useful. It's like the beginning of when I started getting on the internet properly. Outside of TeamSpeak servers of the games I played. And most of those games are dead, come and gone, or have been changed over entirely. So, that's a name I've never seen before. What's the deal, Carl? How are things going? I'm alive. I'm drinking the last of the booze. New videos up before I went broadcast live. That is watchable. I'm good. My woman's good. The child is good. Life good. Hello, how you doing? Cuckoo, cuckoo. I mean, I don't have a lot to complain about. And the stuff that I could complain about, I'm not gonna. It's not useful, not necessary. An unofficial promise I made to myself this year is I'm not gonna kvetch as much as I could possibly kvetch. Like, over the stuff that I could bitch about, I could bitch about. Over the stuff that I can't bitch about, I'm not gonna whine and complain about it. Within reason. Within reason. Doesn't mean I can't reference back to something that happened to me, but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna, jabber. What would I bring back from the earlier days? Places where kids can have fun without being involved or interacting with adults. If there's one website above all, bring back the original Neopets. And or Poptopica. I don't want to have to be at the mercy of interaction with a child, and if I have to interact with a child in some way, I do not want to have the ability for that child to type to me and vice versa. For the protection of that fucking person's sanity, I don't want the child to have the ability to interact with me in a way that is going to give them the ability to form sentences that are not pre-typed and pre-modulated for them. There is no world where I need to have it happen in the video games I play and in the interactions I have online. And there was one site that did that best before any, and that was Neopets. The original Neopets net site. Not this fucking atrocity that they're passing off as Neopets. We need to bring back something close to Flash games. They didn't know how good they had it. They didn't know how good they had it. The closest they could probably get to now is playing on a private server of Toontown. And there's only like 2 games, of which I know. At least the ones that are tracked by ToonHQ. And even then, with the pride shit and the other shit that's in the game, which is ultimately non-essential and inconsequential, even then, they're at the consequence of having to interact with grown-ass adults. It's not good. The only other place that I can imagine these kids can be able to interact in, other than unironically Hello Kitty Island Adventure, is like fucking some free-to-play game that's hosted by Sega on Steam. Some free-to-play game, some weekend warrior game that they could play. But they're taking in the culture of people that they shouldn't be associating with, of grown-ass adults they shouldn't be associating with. So I don't want them there to begin with. You might have noticed I haven't played Stride Nova on stream in a while. That's for a reason. It's full of them. We like the dial-up boundaries to come back, the AOL days, as much as I love and depend on the dynamics, we need a period of detox. I feel like the AOL content that was actually hosted on AOL Online is necessary, because unfortunately the people who make that similar content would be Lacey Green. That doesn't mean she can't make the content, it's just, we took a giant leap and bound from the demo CD of a Captain Crunch video game that came in on a box-in copy of your Captain Crunch cereal to shotgunning Lacey Green content a la 2010 to the current year, if she even makes content on YouTube anymore, which I'm pretty sure she doesn't. Nope, 4 years ago. So, like, we went from Pop Tropica and Neopets and Habbo and Guy Online and I guess IMVU and Second Life to shotgunning content like this. You just start on Sex Plus and you just watch through the years. They don't need that. They don't need that. And outside of fucking Jessica, or whatever the fuck her first name is, Florentini of AJ Plus, who was with the Young Turks before she decided to go fucking native, that's the replacement content they're getting. Other than, like, what? Asa Akira, or whatever that girl's name is. No, Asa Akira is the porn star. I'm thinking of the other Asian. The one that was a lesbian. And then decided to realize, I get it. I understand why guys have it so hard. What is her name? Trying out all the keywords that I can to try and find her channel. It's not coming up. It'll come up at some point in the future. I don't know. Anyways, that era of content, you need separation. Separation. When a person makes an account on a game browser website or for an account service, like League of Legends, it needs to separate people to the queues based on the age the account is inside the range of. If they make an account that's for a child, they need to provide proof of their adult that is giving them consent for purchases on their account, so that you can stop people from making Smurf accounts to try to get into that queue, and then have those children playing with children and having adults playing with adults. It's necessary. I do not want children anywhere nearby me when it comes to video games. I hate them with a burning passion, because I am tired of children justifying their inability to take accountability for the shit that they say and they do that they learnt from an adult, and then them hiding behind those adult opinions while also hiding behind their age. Here's a sentence that's gonna sound bad out of context. I'ma snatch these little fucking kids out of their goddamn homes if I keep seeing the same shit coming out of them every single time they do this shit. Told you it'd be a bad sentence out of context. Because when you have no fucking space for children to be kids, and granted, I'd rather not be inundated with brain rot either, but if I have to deal with sticking out your gat for the Riddler, I'd rather those kids be doing that dumb shit in their own selves, other than what is currently happening. So let's use Chicken Jockey as an example. They're going to do a re-release of the Minecraft movie as a meme-along. We already saw what happened in these theaters, since this film is so goddamn trash garbage, because they're justifying it as, well, the movie doesn't have to actually be good. We can just be lazy as fuck and not actually care about what we put on the screen because it's just for kids anyways. And they're going to do a meme-along rewatch to the tune of Rocky Horror. And I know for a fact that if kids are just watching the film with their parents and they just don't care what's on the screen, they truly are singing along with Steve's Lava Chicken, I'd rather the kids go in there and have their fun. It's more tolerable than grown-ass adults just basically destroying the theater and needing to be banned for life along with their families because they want to go viral on TikTok. The kids might be doing the same shit too, but at least if I were the person cleaning up that theater, I would be happier about the fact that at least these kids had a memorable night. You know? It's that very special episode of Dawson's Creek. That very special episode of Boy Meets World, or Girl Meets World. Where, you know, all the people who are consuming it need to hear the message that's being had. There's no space that allows for that anymore. because the companies care less about the kids' protection and safety, so just blast that shit directly in their goddamn heads and surround them with adults that will take advantage of that. At the very minimum, the harm is that they're giving their trust to adults that then monetize them for money. At the very worst, in the back of the MagFest. And the sad part is that we've come so far. Boys and girls are getting groomed. It's not funny. But it is ironic. I dropped the cat. I can't reach. It's too far away. I got the lid, but at what cost? Okay. Alright, it's all good. But yeah, anyways. If there's one thing I'd do, I'd bring back that. I'd better have it and roll my eyes and say, stupid kids, than have them involved with me and have to manage these children because their parents don't. It's a civic duty that none of us asks to be signed up for. And there's only so many times where you can say D&I, 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 and it's like, can you just do something? Can you do your jobs? Anyways. Let's get on to the first order of business. Which I believe, considering it's been posted twice at me, one by Horror and one by Jack. Yeah, Jack. Let's get to the order of business, which is the update from the Unsubscribed podcast. Enough of that.
Just go straight into this one, Mr. Cody. If you want to kick it off, Mr. Cody, of why this real quick update video for everyone.
It's unfortunate because she probably typed that the second that I said, I'm going to get to the first order of business. Oh, Horror and her timing.
To people watching right now, by the way, this is a rare thing. We're actually doing it streaming to each other instead of in person, and there's reasons behind that. We can't just fly Rich down because the new stuff that has came out. But Cody, if you want to introduce and get this going.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Unsubscribed podcast. I'm joined today by Angry Cops, the Fat Electrician, Eli Double Tap, Brandon Herrera, and myself, Donut Operator. We are here today because
man, Donut Operator slimmed the fuck down. I didn't recognize him the first time I looked at him. Good for you. Good for you, Connor. Good for you.
our friend Angry Cops has some updates about the whole Buffalo school system situation. What you got, Rich?
The local media hates me.
Oh.
Yeah, we see that.
It seems that trying to disparage me is far more important than looking out for the children of Buffalo. So how dare I even go on your podcast?
And how
Did you
dare
guys
we
know?
drink? How dare we drink on that podcast too?
Hashtag absolutely foul.
Listen, I heard you burp, which means you're not allowed to protect children.
That makes sense.
So ridiculous. So fucking ridiculous.
I love how their tone has changed as it becomes apparent that you were A, correct, and B, they get pushback from everybody involved of like, I don't care that he had empty cans near him and he burped at one point while he's trying to expose corruption and endangering kids.
It is the
So
wild.
much for a rocky past.
It's wild. That's the way to downplay it.
That's
It
my
is
favorite part of the entire thing. They're like, this detective has a rocky past, and he's accusing the Buffalo public school system. So you guys want to hear about the rocky past of the Buffalo public school systems? Because I have it. I've covered every fucking scandal they've had since 1970. You guys want to get into those real quick?
Now there's a crash shot that I've ever fucking seen. I love that. Yes, sir. Give me more of that in my veins.
I can give you just the brief overviews.
He's
Well,
got
I know
a
what today
binder.
we're going to talk about.
Yeah, today we're talking about the Buffalo school system.
Yeah, before we get into that, that is the one thing. The main thing is, Rich, you have something we will tie in wherever it falls. We'll go through this linearly of how everything is unfolding. Rich got hit with a big thing, right?
Yeah, I now have evidence that I can share, like that I don't have to sit on and wait. I have evidence that I can share that has to do with one of my investigations is closed, that I got just the other day. That it's gonna make me look as like I know what I'm talking about.
Wild. You were right. Huh? You weren't making shit up. Huh?
Oh, hold on, time out. I'm not like a lawyer or anything, but does the testimony of an active serving SVU detective in regards to the area that he does his fucking job in count as evidence to begin with?
I mean, some might call me a subject matter expert, so that could be used in court, yeah.
Oh, of like the cases that you've worked on that you just gave your testimony about and they still fucking called shit? It's okay though, because now we have like concrete documented evidence.
And really,
Right?
Rich, what is your job? One more time, just so it is very clear of what you do. And it's not a random guy on the internet or the influencer.
Yeah.
Going out of the way of just dealing with the influencer concerns so they don't have to have the ability to dismiss it. Good.
So I am currently a detective in the Buffalo Police Department's Special Victims Unit, which deals with assaults on children, domestic violence, and things of that nature.
A professional.
When I'm not on YouTube, yeah.
Well, hold on. He burps though.
Ah, shit, I forgot. Yeah, we recorded that.
Yeah, if I was a parent and I had my kid in the Buffalo public school system, I don't really think I would give a fuck about the empty White Claw can. That's just me personally, though.
Yeah, well, you're going to be a horrible parent, Brandon, per Channel 7 News, so. Poor
But what
Ed.
about his decorum?
Poor Ed is just getting basted for for people who don't know. Ed, who is actually he's a good journalist. I enjoyed watching his stuff because he holds people to accountable when he questions them. He doesn't just let them give him some BS answer. Made the mistake of starting his story about finding out about this by saying, "Oh, the Unsub podcast is gross. It's a bunch of dudes drinking, burping, and being quote absolutely foul." And then he goes, but then the detective started talking about things that were concerning, and I'm like, "Oh no, you just made the worst introduction to the Unsub community you could have ever made." And now everybody in the Unsub community is not letting him skate and being like, the first thing you cared about and talked about in the story was booze, burps, and being foul. You owe us an apology. And then you guys clipped it and we all shared it. And he's like doubling down on it now, saying, no. I was talking about other stuff too. And Nick was brilliant. He goes, "Oh, isn't that crazy how we brought up a small portion of something that happened in your career and that's all we're focusing on? Seems kind of like the shit you do to Rich, doesn't it?"
It's like, "Oh, it was out of context." I'm like, "No, I watched the clip. It's just what you fucking said to
Yeah.
open it up. That's directly what you said."
We played like the untouched minute and a half of him talking. We didn't cut it out of anything.
Yeah, we didn't edit it. It wasn't like a little 5-second snippet. It was just his entire introduction to the segment was talking about how foul we are.
Which is becoming a t-shirt. I talked to the guys at Bunker. They're in the process of making an absolute
Good man. If it was me, and it was something that I had to say and I had to give about my backstory and my knowledge as an ex-Fed, I would make every single person read it in fucking week. And I would not let them live it down. Because fuck them. I would not take that shit lying down, and they shouldn't either. Good on them.
really foul t-shirt.
Rich, that is your deplorables.
The deplorables is really good. Well, Nick, do you want to get started with the? You probably predates. We have a quick update, or what we can do, Rich, do a quick. Hey, here's a 3 to 5 minute segment to catch everyone up if they're just tuning into this.
Sure. So if everybody's tuning into this for the first time and they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on, because several weeks ago I went on your podcast, the Unsubscribed podcast, which I'm a regular on because we're all boys, And I felt like that was the appropriate opportunity to talk about how the Buffalo Public Schools has been intentionally misreporting or underreporting and obstructing law enforcement investigations into child abuse and assault against children. It got a lot of attention right off the rip, and a lot of people critiqued it and said, hey, we're uncultured and foul, and questioned why I would go on a lame, dumb podcast and even talk about such a serious topic. And obviously my reasoning and my response to that is because I trust you guys. I love you all. You guys would allow me to talk like that. And because we're tight, and I asked you if I could just steal the spotlight for a second and talk about something that was weighing on my mind, you let me. And the thing that sent me over the edge, that created and started all of this, wasn't just my several years in the Special Victims Unit and the years prior, and hearing about these issues for years and years and years with the Buffalo Public Schools. The straw that broke the camel's back is a recent ongoing investigation where 2 kids were nearly abducted. It was an attempted abduction of 2 kids at an elementary school, and the school had failed to notify one of the kids' parents that the child was a part of an attempted abduction. And then the school deleted the video of the attempted abduction, and then only after somebody within the school had the wherewithal to save a copy of it, I don't know how they did it, but they saved a copy of it somehow, they then gave it to the district attorney's office, and only then, when the district attorney got that recording, did they see that there was a second victim. And I was like, okay, cool. If this is what's going on, then I'm done. And somebody has to know, and a change needs to be made now, because this is egregious. And since then, the news has decided, for the first couple days, to focus on me instead of the children.
As normal, because it's about you bringing up the fact that it's being talked about rather than addressing the fact that it's happening.
And when I say focus on me, they would try to bring up my past with internal affairs investigations and investigations with the AG's office. They say he's had numerous investigations, which is fine. I can be investigated a million times for every single complaint that anybody's put on me, and I should be, to make sure I'm not a bad cop. What they don't talk about is that at the end of all these investigations, the only thing that they showed, including the AG's office, was that I was too rude when I called a robbery suspect for an armed robbery fat boy, and that I got in an on-duty accident in a vehicle. Those are the only 2 things I was found, that I did incorrectly. So that brings us to our autism army, who decided to flood the gates with, thank God, positive comments about me, and the local media trying to take away the spotlight from the incidents that I'm talking about in the Buffalo Public Schools, trying to cover up sexual assaults and other things in their schools, and trying to make me the center of it. So everybody called them out and literally changed headlines, which I think, Nick, you posted on, where somebody, I think it was a Channel 7 news article, was like, it started off with the first paragraph was me having a rocky past, being controversial, and internal affairs investigations. And then within 2 days, that entire portion of the paragraph was gone. And that was about from every news article too. And all it was Special Victims Unit detective. All of a sudden, all of my shit was gone, thank God. And they started focusing on the real issue, which is the children. And that was because the community stepped up and held them accountable.
Isn't that crazy how they question why on earth you would go to a podcast and not the news outlets, and then they immediately show you why you were justified in going on our podcast by berating you and focusing on you, and then you actually went in at their request and filmed a 20 to 30 minute interview, and then they only posted 7 minutes of it, whereas you get to come on here and talk for 37 minutes uninterrupted?
Well, most of this has to do with the syndication. Real villain here isn't necessarily news affiliates, because news affiliates, they're just a part of the bigger conglomerate machine. But your hatred towards those that at the affiliate chose to stand in the way of it, and then continue with business as normal, because this is a threat to our democracy, rate 15 billion times large. But ultimately, the real villain here is the syndication. The syndication probably got reports and were told from on high, do not push this story. This looks bad for because it's probably a Buffalo affiliate, looks bad for a Democrat. Shame on them. Find out who was doing it in the affiliate, get their name, get the name of the host, and find out who recorded and then edited and then posted and then okayed that final version of the interview. That's who you want to go after.
The entire time and get the full fucking story out? That's crazy.
I'm confused as why they didn't even put the 27 minutes that we recorded up on their YouTube channel.
Because they aren't the ones in control of it, therefore they don't get to have the clout that comes from it. It's the same thing with an influencer. Just think of it as a multimedia corporation that decides to say at the end of the day what's important and what's not. They get to control the narrative, so if they control the narrative, they decide what is useful and what isn't. If they don't get to control that narrative in that way, then it becomes a problem for them. And that's pretty much it. Never the twain shall meet. Which is crazy in and of itself, but no one said people are smart and rational.
Like, all of their videos get like 800 views on YouTube. So who cares if you put up the entire unedited version on YouTube? You would get more views.
It's the line. Like, one of the crazy things is Cody talks about, I mean, we've all talked about it, but it is not trusting legacy media, the news, and then you get to see how they discredited you with that. It's like, hey, let's focus on his quote-unquote Rocky Pass, but then just outright lie. The one that was wild is they said you headbutted a children in the face, and there was a 17-year-old that was like trying to pull somebody off a fucking police officer.
No, that was different. That was an off-duty fight with drug dealers.
Yeah, and they said children.
Yeah, they tried to say children. That kid's been arrested, like, I say kid, he's younger than me. But he was 17. He was selling dope outside my friend's house in a different town. And I confronted him about it, and then he swung at me, and I headbutted him in the mouth. And then we called the police. They showed up. They ended up tasing and arresting one of the dummies that was a part of their little gang. And since then, like, that dude that I got in a fight with has been arrested like numerous times for like breaking into people's cars and dope and just being an overall turd.
Yeah.
I saw the news recently brought up the thing.
The word I'd use is menace to society. But they're not going to say that word. When I say they, I don't mean the Unsubscribed podcast. I mean the news affiliates. Because this is basically the equivalent of a person who is a delinquent that has been a menace to society for years. When they finally either get killed or are killed as the result of their actions, instead of putting up the picture of their mugshot, they put up the picture of their baby face pictures from when they were in elementary school or in grade school from the UK. And they're like, "Oh, my baby, say his name, say his name. Why did you take my baby?" And then the police officer comes up and he's like, 47 arrests, 13 beheadings, and 5 rapes, one of which we had on camera. And then you go to the footage of the guy where it's like, and you said that this man is your baby. Yeah, take it. Say my name, bitch. Say my name. Dead face at the hearing or at the press release. And you're like, this is your baby? Ah, yes, I can see the resemblance. You can see in his cute cheeks and the tears running down her face that is indeed your son. No bail! No bail! It's the stupidest fucking thing that The Guardian and multiple other sources that get sourced by Ground News are guilty of. They are so bad at this. The UK ones are worse. Because the UK ones, Muslim immigrants get listed as Asians. The same way that white Americans and Asian Americans all get crushed down in the UK and the US when it comes to admissions as white. They statistically lie in the news feed. Then they lie on the broadcast. Then when you confront them about the lie and you call them a smear merchant on the interview, if you talk to them and you show them the evidence, the proof, you have your own news press, if it's dueling reports, they'll call you a fucking liar unless they get their shit pushed in at the news affiliate. Because the corporation will do what the corporation does. It's the same with Fox. It's the same with CBS. It's the same with MSN. It's the same with CNN. But if the affiliate, the local affiliate, gets his shit pushed in, that might as well be the death of the career of the news anchor. Not enough meteorologists in tight-fitting dresses is going to undo that fuck up. So they have to print a retraction at the affiliate level. So the best way to deal with this is what they did, which was basically calling them out for their shit and then just bringing it up and making it really uncomfortable to go through with this play. It's like the most accurate description in comparison to a physical irritant you can have against media corporations. Because if they're just an influencer, lie, and move the fuck on, right? They don't really take true consequences because they're not really being given a consequence. But if you remove this consequence from them in this way, if you move it around and you make them have to address the fact that they're acting like this in this capacity, and you put it right up there in black and white where everybody can see it in a place where they can't control, it becomes a case of dueling narratives. And then it becomes a case of big bank take little bank. And then the syndication has to basically say, okay, what is worse? Printing a retraction or having to now go through litigation and having to go with the fact that we have to appeal that we have been subpoenaed and then tried and then found guilty of libel and slander. What's worse? The slander case or just eating crow? The answer every time when it comes to the news affiliate is eating crow. If it's the conglomerate, they can fight it. If it's the news affiliate, they won't. And there are people inside the affiliate that will come down on the side of the people saying, you know what, y'all on some bullshit, I'm going to give them what they need. Because they have to be it's stupid shit. It's the sheriff's veto. If it was a beat cop, the beat cop is tenured to a union. So even if you don't like the beat cop can be reassigned to another organization or to another city. If it's a sheriff, they have to be elected. And therefore, they can be fired. Because that's the kind of sheriff that they have to send out to deal with most cases. So it becomes a case of popularity. If it's a popularity contest, then it falls to the elections. And if it's an election contest, do you want the bad press that comes with your local affiliate being responsible for why your kid got diddled out of school? Oh, damn. This influencer was talking about this thing that happened in his line of work as a podcaster. But he's also working in the district and he has ties to the community. Meanwhile, your favorite news anchor has stocks on the company that's trying to pressure him to be quiet because he sells the equivalent of drugs to the community. It leads to the funniest crash outs I've ever seen. Back to this.
Too about that dipshit that was hitting cars with a skateboard and you held him down until cops got there. They brought it up again. And they were like, it held down a black man having a mental crisis,
which is hilarious because in the actual video, like you're just holding him down. You're like, he's fine. The guy on the ground's like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, he says I've been waiting for this all day because what the news doesn't put out there is that there were already 7 911 calls about him, that he was flashing his dick to people crossing the street and trying to hit cars and people with his skateboard before I showed up. And then the police went there, and because there was no complainant to be like, yeah, that's the guy, I want him arrested for flashing me and trying to hit me, they were like, hey, you're the guy that's causing an issue, you need to settle down. They had a mental health counselor with them who deemed him to be sane and fine, and they didn't need to put him into, the loony bin for the day to get him checked out. And they left. And then 3 minutes later, I showed up. And then 3 minutes later, he motherfucked me and then tried to hit my truck with his skateboard, and then we scuffled. And then that was it.
It's a shame that we have
That's what I'm saying!
to even have this segment before, period. This shouldn't have to be discussed to show it's like, hey, this is trustworthy. The discrediting, if you're doing that and you're watching this, or that's your first reaction to be like, well, we just got to discredit that police officer. Fuck. We don't care about the kids, anything. First, let's get this guy. Let's knock him down a peg, and then we'll focus on that. And we have to have this segment just for that, which is fucking wild.
I think it's petty jealousy too, because the local media is upset you didn't go to them. You went to a podcast instead, and they're like, well, do we deserve to break this story? We're the real journalists. They do really think that way. Like, I experienced it myself, like with campaign stuff and whatnot. But the thing is, you actually wanted it to get fucking views, which is why you went to our podcast and not the local news station that A, was going to attack you and berate you anyway, but B, nobody fucking watches that anymore.
I didn't want to go somewhere where, like you said, the local news is just going to attack me and make me look dumb, and 20,000 people might see it at most, and the most attention it's going to actually get is, I don't know, somebody from the school saying, "We'll look into it," and then it not being a non-story forever. Like I was past that point. Like I said, that story that broke the straw that broke the camel's back, the one with the guy breaking into the school trying to steal the 2 kids. Like, I was like, no. Change is going to happen now. Change is going to happen right now.
Well, we still appreciate you coming out, being emotional with us, and feeling comfortable enough to have that discussion, because that was like, it speaks volumes to who you are, and then also the guys you have surrounded yourself with, and that the brotherhood we have formed. That's what I love most about all, like, this group of boys is, man, we're all comfortable around each other, and we're fucking truthful to each other. We don't pull punches, and we are not trying to hide anything. So again, brother, thank you so much for talking that way with us.
Just boys being boys without gayness.
And ruining the
Or with.
after show.
Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Nicholas, do you want to bring us up to speed on the sins of the Buffalo School District and how the local media has decided to not talk about that at all until Channel 2 came around and decided to?
Just for the sake of time, we're not even going to get into the 70s through the 90s, because those are a complete shit show where almost everything went unreported. And the only reason we know about the majority of them now are because people are filing civil suits after the fact due to new legislation. I believe it's the Safe Children's Act, which basically said there is no statute of limitations for civil suits in regards to assaults. So there's been a bunch of stuff.
That is correct, sir. It is exactly what is putting them on guard, because most of them are not prepared to deal with those cases, because many of them are cold cases, and they don't want that shit to open up, because it will actively clog the system, and then once we process it, the entire system will collapse, because that many people will go to jail for small infractions that account up to master felonies of not doing your job.
Has come out from that era, but we're going to skip past that. We'll get right into, like, 2019, there was a high school technology teacher caught with illicit child material all over his computer. He is now in federal prison. In 2019, again, another English teacher from the area was caught and convicted for growing marijuana, trafficking marijuana, having possession of illegal firearms, and distributing to minors.
That's nice.
Wow.
That's 2019, so that was great. 2022, we've got Gregory Johnson, position, principal, accused of ongoing physical and sexual abuse of a student during the school year and field trips. The outcome, there has been no criminal...
And field trips? And field trips? Not proof of you being alone with the student and nobody saying a single thing. Fuck is this, Fate Stay Nights?
criminal charges filed as of 2025, but there is a civil suit that is filed. 2022, failure to report abuse of a high school counselor. This is actually the case that Rich talked about, I believe.
Failure to report by a high school counselor?
Yes.
Not in 2022. Mine's 2024.
2022, a student reported being physically abused by her father multiple times, even showing video evidence. Yes, that's... Sorry, the date's wrong on that one.
That's all right.
We've got the Shane Cronin incident, which is also what we talked about. That is the man that attempted to kidnap 2 children. And then 2024, we have a music teacher in Buffalo Public School that was attempting to meet up with a 13-year-old girl for sexual acts, but it was actually an undercover sting operation. In 2025, a teacher accidentally gave THC-infused gummies to 2 students that landed them in the hospital.
How do you accidentally do that? You confuse your fucking pod container for a fucking box of bubblegum? And clearly that musical teacher just wanted to teach the student how to sing just to sing in the high tenor. It was for gospel music. We swear, we swear, we swear, we swear.
And those are just a couple of the current cases that Buffalo School District has going on. And then we can get into the broader topic, and this is actually due to reporters doing their fucking job after they got called out repeatedly. This information was brought to light by one of, in my opinion, two good reporters in Buffalo that's actually doing investigative journalism. So this is from Nate Benson. And he filed FOIA requests with the BPD to get information on the stats of how many times the police department is called. Between September of 2021 and current time, Buffalo Police Department has had to respond to 17,772 calls at schools. Gist of those are, we've got 880 times that ambulances were required. We've got a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of threats, larceny, theft, juvenile trouble, lost property. More concerning stats, we've got 881 fights, 176 assaults. We've got 162 incidences of missing persons under the age of 12. We've got 126 assault incidences. And the most concerning of all of this is because when Rich came on the original podcast, he said that the school has some level of influence over school resource officers, SROs, and the school is using that influence to get them to not file things appropriately or bury the cases. Out of those 17,772 police calls, 54% of them are listed under other, miscellaneous, or direct patrol. Direct patrol means it was just the SRO on site that responded. There's no further elaboration as to what 54% of those 7,000 calls were relating to. So assuming that it's just proportional, the amount of assaults would be double, if not more, and they're burying them and everything else. So that goes right in line with everything Rich said with things are not getting reported appropriately.
What the fuck? 52%?
54%.
54%?
Of the 17,000 are basically just lumped together under the miscellaneous category, and they have absolutely no idea what the incidents were even pertaining to. And I believe the head of the BPD, the chief, was asked about it by the news and said he wasn't familiar with the stats and needed to look into it more.
Rich,
If
this
I
actually
may.
ties. I was gonna say real quick. It actually ties in kind of with what Rich has with what you got presented a little bit. Brandon, what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, if I may, be so bold, it sounds like Buffalo Public Schools have a rocky past.
One would say that.
Bro, might it be controversial?
Maybe. I would say that would sound pretty controversial. But enough about your rocky past. Let's talk about your rocky future.
Yeah, it's gonna be rocky going forward. Cody, let me know if you ran into any of this, so you can echo it, because I feel like this is a nationwide thing. Like, I think that's why one of the reasons why the video got a lot of attention is a lot of people working around schools or closely with schools have seen this happen, across the states. So when it comes to those 54% of calls that go under miscellaneous or information only, when I say hiding a call or killing a case, right, that could mean a couple of different things. And we'll talk about hiding a call or burying it, right? If I have a sexual assault between two children at the school, what the school will do sometimes is they'll call it in and make it information only or juvenile trouble, right? So these things do not elicit an investigation. There's no crime in information only or juvenile trouble. They're basically what they say they are. So in an information only, if Nick and I got in a verbal argument and we're neighbors, we don't get along, I might even say that he pushes my garbage can over 5 feet into my other neighbor's yard because he doesn't like. I'll call up 911. I'll get a report done. It'll be information only. The information will be that I don't get along with my neighbor and he keeps moving my garbage can. It's really just a way to keep historical track of an issue that somebody might have. Hey, I just want this on paper just to show a history of this type of action, right? There's no criminal aspect to it.
It's physical papering, basically, is what he's trying to denote. The general goal of papering is to work up to then dealing with it, because then you have a history of escalation, which then allows you to immediately deal with the problem right out the gate. And where most people would think, haha, they're not going to do anything to me, all of a sudden, you're getting tried as an adult if you're a child doing shit like this. You get a case of, well, I have tenure, they won't deal with me, and next thing you know, you're out on your fucking ass. Because they see the history and the escalation, and more importantly, in many cases, if they do this with the intention of trying to get away with it, and they brag to you that they will, that they'll bury your case. That they can use it as a case of, and I took that personally. Which is the best part.
There's no investigation. So what the schools will do is they'll have information brought in by a student, we'll say, who says, my friend or myself happens to be assaulted, right? They're reporting for themselves or reporting for one of their friends. And the school will take it. And for some reason, and I don't know why, they're worried that it's going to be labeled as another in their school, even if it's just it didn't happen here. I'm just telling you because you're my teacher and I trust you. Could have happened at home, right? And they're bearing it under information only. So then no investigation goes through it. Hey, Janie said that she was touched, but it happened at home. We don't want the stigmatism of another call being here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it information only and then fill it out, case closed. Hey, this person says that they were touched. We don't no further information, case closed. Now, the only way that we can find that on BPD is if I search information only at that address, which never happens. Why would I search information only? There's no criminal aspect to it. There's no investigation needed. And that's how they bury it.
When I was a police officer, if you go to the school, crime actually happened, you fill out the criminal report, and then it goes up the chain of command. You know, the people above you are going to look at it. But as Rich said, information only reports, it just gets buried in the computer unless you want to go search for it.
So the big hidden treasure here to whoever wants to find it is literally going to be going through those 5,400 different cases and then looking at the narrative and saying, all right, what did the police officer write down, or what did the school tell the police officer here? And in one of my cases that I currently have, that I can't get into because I'm looking into it, but what I currently have is I have one of those where it's an where it's an information only, but the narrative states a sexual assault. And I'm investigating that currently. That is ongoing. I literally have in my possession that I'm investigating now, an ongoing investigation. That is exactly what I stated. Information only, not reported to SVU, unintentionally, accidentally discovered, and then given to me because we're like, why is this inappropriately labeled? Otherwise, we never would have saw it. Otherwise, some poor kid that's a victim, potentially, because the investigation's ongoing, isn't getting any assistance. Now they're getting assistance, but that's only because we looked through it and found it.
And that's something that I saw a lot of people reaching out there like, this isn't just Buffalo public schools. I don't know why you guys are making a big deal of this. This isn't just a you thing. This happens everywhere. And I'm just thinking like, yeah, that's not fucking good either. That's even more important to talk about then. How does that make this a non-issue? You just said it was an issue everywhere that isn't talked about.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And while we're...
Just maybe, if the world gets shown that a bunch of random podcasters can start looking at something and get a bunch of people fired or put in jail, maybe it'll set a precedent that everybody else will be like, oh fuck, maybe I should start doing my job. Or a bunch of podcasters that drink and burp are going to make sure I don't have one.
I wouldn't say it needs to go that far. I would say that it does encourage the idea that if you don't do your job, and people who happen to have ties to know a guy, suddenly, if the only reason it came up is because of a podcaster, it'll get you fucked. And if it just so happens to be that those podcasters do the job that they're talking about, it's not a drama bait, it's not a series being done by people like Cataclysm and Louis McClung on YouTube. It's somebody that's like, yeah, I heard this post from Single Player Carl, and then I looked into it, and then he put me in touch with the people from the Unsubscribed podcast. We're taking your job now. What the fuck did I do? It's what you didn't do, sir. Come with me! That's more the speed. But then the question becomes, who has the right to do that? It's a very important tool. It's a very important tool. And people are used to abusing it. And using it for drama. And entertainment. Because they don't take it serious. That should be the level it should call for. Because it's not about the podcasters who took my job. It's people found out that I fucked my shit up, and it just so happens to be it happened in front of a very large studio audience, and that audience happened to be presented by podcasters, sponsored by Heat Tap.
Vendors assemble.
Offenders assemble. Oh, I can't do mine around the school.
They're coming. What is it? A whole bunch of autistic people? They're pissed.
They're really upset. If now, while we're talking about that, just so I don't lose my train of thought, if there is a Buffalo public school, or the Buffalo school, if there's a parent of a child that goes to a Buffalo public school, and they're like, hey, you know what? My daughter or my son brought up that something happened at school, and I called up the school and I wanted a report done. I wonder if they mislabeled mine. Those parents need to go to any Buffalo district house, Buffalo police district house, and they need to go to the report technician, the front desk, and say, hey, here's my ID, I'm so-and-so, so-and-so's my daughter, kid, whatever. I filed a police report with the school a while back and I never got a call. I'd like to know, I'd like a copy of the report and just an update if there is one. And you're gonna know then, A, if a report was even done for your incident, because if the report technician behind the desk says there's nothing here for your kid, you would probably search it underneath your child's name or your name. If they say, hey, there's no report for your kid, like period, well, there you go. There's an incident of the school intentionally not reporting something that you called them to report. And then B, if you do get a report, note what is the headline. Is the headline information only? Is it miscellaneous? Is it something that they're trying to hide? Or is it exactly what happened? An assault, some sort of abuse.
On top of that, don't we also have an email address now if you want to shout that out?
takethehighroad@gmail.com. Take the HY road at gmail.com. And that's for any information, like if it's affecting you or you don't know what's going on or you're trying to shine some more light on it, please email that direct email,
Yeah.
Take the High Road, and tell us your story, because it is
Guys,
one thing.
Please don't spam it either. Like, don't just flood it with, oh, I heard about this case, here's a news article. Like, this is if you have something that you feel like needs to get out there or would help with this investigation.
If you were there and you witnessed a thing happen, if you are a first person and you saw it happen, or if you heard it from the person that saw it happen, that's it. And it'd be really great if you could give us dates, times, locations, and the names of those people involved.
I think the Buffalo public school system is handling the scrutiny terrific. Really. I mean, did you see what they did on Monday?
Oh my God.
Yeah, their statement?
Oh, no, that was on Sunday. Monday, they had independent auditors go to the administration building and walk around the hallways and try to ask people questions. And most people ignored them and stonewalled them, which, I can't really fault that if random dudes with cameras were showing up at my place of work. I don't really blame them for that. But then one gentleman by the name of John M. Palmara in the finance office got so upset that they were asking questions about the Buffalo Public Schools deleting evidence, he said, I know what to do. I'll break their phone that they're recording on and destroy more fucking evidence. Good. What a way to set a precedent and show what you guys are all about. Great fucking work. I love it.
Wild. Untruths.
And get arrested for it.
And get arrested for it, actually, yeah. News hasn't covered that one yet.
Brendan, didn't you make an interesting point about their recorded meetings?
Oh yeah, well, because it was the fact that like they're all available on YouTube. Like they live stream their board meetings. But this one, as soon as Detective High comes out on a podcast that is full of foul people, all of a sudden now they want to do a secret meeting that is not broadcast to YouTube, that the public is not available to go to.
Journalists weren't allowed. They were kicked out. Journalists were kicked out of that exact same closed door meeting, which is fucking wild.
This is a prestige of the Obama period. There used to be such good traction between the pieces of media that people were just comfortable with having people with the press there because they were all part of the same press corps and all had the same politics in the press corps. But in this case, or if you want to compare it to something similar, treat the meeting like a YouTuber and or Twitch streamer, and the people inquiring as random, what the fuck is going on with the garbage truck in my street? That was extra squeaks for no reason. with a random YouTuber getting hate rated by a group of people with a targeted message. They're reacting in the same way that a YouTuber would to either being hate stalked or a person who did something who's guilty being perceived and not knowing how to handle it on the spot. It's the same reaction, and thus it's the same methodology. We don't want you to see what we're doing. We are afraid of you being able to perceive the actions that are going on. Therefore, we're going to stonewall you. They can only be able to do so much, but if they're actually going to the point where they're getting arrested and pulling an ice beside them, someone's going to lose the job. Someone's going to lose the job.
What do you think they might have talked about?
The journalists also said that there was significantly more security at that meeting. They said there's usually like 1 or 2 people, and this time they had like 10. So then the journalists went and started interviewing
200.
teachers since they didn't have anything else to do. And the teacher they interviewed said, I don't know anything about exactly what Detective High has highlighted, but it wouldn't surprise me because at least in the 20 years that he's been there, there's been a pretty big culture of downplaying or hiding violence and assaults altogether.
Some people might call that a clue.
There's a culture of downplaying violence and other incidents like the officers mentioning in this district really since I started over 20 years ago.
I also have a FOIA request in that got submitted today because the email that we set up already, somebody has reached out and said that, I'm not going to say his name because we don't have any evidence yet, but allegedly there is a vice principal at a Buffalo School District school that has been moved around almost every year of his career, and he gets constantly moved around due to complaints of sexual assault and
Exactly the shit that I was just talking about.
being oddly sexual near children, and he just keeps getting bounced around from school to school. So
Why is he still in the system? That's automatic grounds for fucking censure. Find out who the intendant is. Fire them. Fire them.
I have a FOIA request out pertaining to all of the internal records with the Buffalo Public School systems.
What?
Yeah, which that stuff drives me fucking crazy because people like it's the people who reply to this stuff, right, on like Facebook, like some of the people that don't like Rich that are like, I don't know why we're even talking about this. This happens with the Catholic Church all the time. Her. It's like, well, A, statistically speaking, it's way more likely to happen in public schools. B, we don't support that either. It's a controversial statement, but I just think that, you know, abuse should be reported and talked about no matter where it happens. It just so happens to be happening here. This isn't a tit for tat kind of game.
What the fuck?
All right, Rich, you want to get to the hard evidence that we've got?
The new evidence that shows exactly what I've been talking about regarding the, oh man, my wife looks hot. Hi. We're recording a thing right now. You look hot though.
Get this part in.
Hi, cut that out.
So she doesn't want any part of this. She's got so much anxiety. Yeah. So Nick, speaking of people emailing us and telling us, you know, new and intriguing information that could be brought to light to show a history of, you know, not working with police very well or intentionally mislabeling or even failing to report, I received an email from an individual at a school, and this individual said, hey, Rich, you came to my school last year, and you were investigating a sexual assault on one of our students. This person didn't say exactly who told them that that they were not allowed to talk to me, but this person also had a statement from the student. Not the student that was assaulted, but the student's friend that was one of the people that she confided in. I forget the actual term that we use for it in policing, but whenever somebody confides their sexual assault to a friend, it's like their first utterance of it happened.
First response confidant.
That's a big deal. We notate the date and time and what that person was told by that individual, and it grants credence and validates the victim's story, right? Instead of just, you know, a he said, she said, there's other people involved, which, you know, which is what we want. More eyes, more statements, more voices to solidify exactly what happened. So I'm going to read what this child wrote in a statement, and then I'll go over why it's a big deal.
Just to be clear, before you read the statement, just so I understand exactly what's happening, you went, you investigated this, you solved the case, you closed the case.
Yes.
And this individual at the school, either a teacher, a counselor, whoever, was given this written information by the student and then was told she was not allowed to give it to you, the detective that was actively investigating this assault.
That's correct.
What the
So
fuck?
this is new evidence.
Jesus.
This is new evidence brought in after the fact because the administration withheld evidence intentionally in a sexual assault case.
That's correct.
So this would be failure to report and obstruction of justice?
I mean, yeah, I would say so.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're all on the same
Or
page.
witness tampering. I mean, I don't know if you really do witness tampering. That's kind of a stretch, but
I'm gonna throw the book. Witness tampering, obstruction of justice, failure to report, since it's being done with the intention of trying to delay the justice and they are aware of it, aiding and abetting a fugitive of justice, and any other particular crimes the person who is the accused that has committed the crime in question they're attempting to cover up. I'd say a good solid 20 to 30, and you can never be an educator again. What to? 50 to 60 and $1 million bond. Come on now. Gotta make an example.
basically evidence was available. This person wanted to share it with me, and then they were told not to share it with me and not to even talk to me.
It's fucking wild.
And get ready for this. Get ready for this. All right, so I'm gonna read it now. If you could please bleep out. I'm not even gonna say the names, but please black out the names of those that are suspects, because the names mentioned in here could come up as a part of a new investigation for failure to report. So we're gonna leave the names of the suspects out. I'm just gonna say like teacher A or just the teacher, whatever. On Tuesday, October 22nd, I told Miss Blank that the victim got in the auditorium. She said, I'm not the right person to tell, and she took me to Miss Blank in the office. I told Miss Blank, today, the victim came late to a different teacher's class because she got in the auditorium. Miss Blank asked, is there any proof? Which is not what you ask a child when they're reporting this. The victim's friend stated, yes, there is a video. Miss Blank asked, who was the boy? I said suspect, and she said okay. She said she would handle it tomorrow. She would handle it tomorrow. I thought she was going to do something or pull us in the morning and talk about it. But then the half of the 7th grade knew, so we told Miss Blank because nothing was done. Miss Blank was in shock and said, give me 5 minutes. We walked away from Miss Blank and the victim started crying. So we went to go look for Miss Blank. Signed, the victim's friend who made this statement 2 days after. So in case you're not picking up what I'm putting down here, there was an assault on a child. The child made statements to her friend, hey, I got assaulted. The friend goes to teachers and says, hey, so-and-so was assaulted.
They'll say teacher A. So teacher A, is there multiple teachers?
Well, there's multiple teachers.
Okay, so
Goes
well,
to
teacher A is the
A.
first one.
Sure. Teacher A is first. Hey, we're going to go to teacher A and we're going to tell her. Teacher A says, oh, this ain't in my job description. Let's go to teacher B, which is fine. Whatever. You go to another teacher. She goes to teacher B. Teacher B says, where's the proof? Do you have any proof? Which is not how you say things to a child. There's ways that you interview children. This is not one of them.
It's almost like people that work in the education system aren't qualified to conduct their own investigations.
Mother of God, Nick, you nailed it on the head.
Wow. Fucking crazy. Makes you wonder how well all the investigations they've performed in the past have turned out.
So this goes on.
This is the end? This is like all the movement that ever happened on this case?
Well, I'll go into a little bit what happened afterwards to give it like a full picture. But in this scenario, in this child's statement, so she goes to teacher A, goes to teacher B. Teacher B says, well, what happened? Is there proof? Yeah, there's video. and then says, all right, we'll talk about it tomorrow. No, you fucking don't. You report that shit immediately, because if there's video going around of that kid getting assaulted all over school, that's got to get nipped in the butt right away. You can't have that. You've got underage kids doing it. Guess what that's called? There's a term for that. And it's getting spread around the school.
It's getting shared, like, and they have no in your. But again, 7th grade, going to an adult and saying, "Hey, this just happened." Not now. Happened, and there's video evidence that is fucking asinine to go. I'll look into it tomorrow,
dude.
That's just pure rage of especially your own kids, and then you hear this. It's fucking wild. The first response is, I'll look into it tomorrow.
So then, after nothing happened, then they went to teacher C, another teacher.
I think they went to a third individual, teacher, whatever. I think it was teacher. And then I believe that teacher, let me just double check. I want to, so in the morning, nothing happened. But then, that following day, half of 7th grade already knew what was going on.
Ooh, I would not want to be that child in this situation. Bad enough that I've been assaulted by Jeremy behind the fucking school boardwalk. But you've got the entire school aware of how he diddled me? I would commit a speak, and I would not do what Christian Stewart did in that film. Everybody gonna grow. Damn, and me included. I ain't going to jail. And I will not be called the 2-pump dump.
So then they went to teacher C and said, give me 5 minutes. And that teacher, I believe, was the one that started, notifying school individuals and other things like that, and then got the ball rolling. Thank God. So I showed up a day, maybe 2, after.
So teacher C is the one that gathered this statement from the 7th grader and then was told by the administration she was not allowed to work with you or turn evidence over to you.
I'm not sure. I'm just for anonymity's sake. There are like 5 people named in this document, and I'm not sure. I don't even want to say that the person that gave it to me is labeled in there or isn't labeled in there. I'm going to give them a little bit of anonymity, just because I don't want their shit to blow up. Right? The person that gave me this information or that forwarded the complaint may or may not be in this document. Good fucking luck figuring that out. But I did receive it. So, boom. The end result of this investigation, thank God, was that it was determined not to be an assault. We ironed everything out. I don't want to get in, these kids' businesses, but it was basically a very emotional reaction to the videos being spread, embarrassment, etc. Right?
So, revenge porn. That would still fall under the case of SVU, but unfortunately, if it's a child on a child, this thing gets elevated to their parents. So let's call her Joanna, let's call him Joey. Why did Joey and Joanna's parents not get contacted about the fact that Joey was spreading around revenge porn? Jail! Jail!
And by the way, these are children. They're scared. They don't know what's going on. Their brains aren't fully developed. They're doing adult activities and recording them, not understanding the repercussions. It was a
out here pulling a little plug
mess that we sifted through. But because of that mess that we sifted through, that we investigated, because I don't know if people know this, but as a detective, especially when it comes to kids, my job isn't to arrest a 16-year-old or 12-year-old or 8-year-old. My job is to determine if a crime happened, and then also to get these kids assistance, especially when it comes to like mental health awareness, and getting them to like the Child Advocacy Center, the Family Justice Center, and getting them counseling, which is exactly what happened. We determined that a crime hadn't been committed. We moved forward. We got these kids on both sides help. and everybody is okay. Nobody's in jail. What do you know? Cops don't just arrest everybody when they show up.
With no help from the school system.
Honestly, I thought that the school was phenomenal. I went there and I worked with them. One of the principals or both of the principals were giving me information. They were calling me up. They were wondering about updates. There were teachers in the school that like wanted answers right away. And the principal was like, hey, listen, our school's upset about this. We're looking for this. We'd like information when you can get it to us. I thought it was phenomenal. And then I get smacked with this. So even when I think that I'm getting treated amazing and I have a great relationship with the people at this school, there's somebody within the school. I don't know who. I don't know who yet. I asked this question. I haven't gotten a response yet. So I'm waiting. Somebody in that school, somebody still was like, don't help the cops. Don't give them this statement. It's going to look like we failed to report, which you did.
Yeah, because you said that like it was later determined that there was no crime was actually committed. But
Correct.
the school didn't know that at the time. For all the school knew, that could have been a full-blown that they were making sure they did not cooperate with your investigation at all or report it.
Thank you. That is the exact point that I wanted to hit on. And you brought it up before I could. Thank you, Brandon. The point of this whole entire thing is that at the time, this was a very real investigation regarding the assault of a child. So how in the world, without knowing anything other than that, than the victim's statement of what happened, and they're now being video passed around the school, would you be like, you know what we should do? We should still withhold this from the detectives who are doing the investigation. Mind-blowing.
It's just speechless of that idea of like, well, let's delay it and now don't talk to the police, giving a direct, because as you said, it like they were told not to work with the police.
Correct.
And that's fucking disgusting.
Welcome to my world. Maybe now Channel 4 can get off my back and they can say, oh, well, I guess there is information. Because let me tell you, the hardest part for me, like as an individual, like if I'm being selfish, right? The hardest part for me so far is knowing the information that I've investigated on these cases, but not being able to share it with the news or you guys because it's part of an investigation that's ongoing, or it's something that I know because of my job and I can't give away too much information because otherwise I could be held accountable for violating the media policies of my department. Now this is different. This case is closed. I still haven't given away any information that you couldn't get from a FOIA request on a closed case, no longer open, closed. And this was given to me as a civilian by another civilian. This has nothing, this document that was given to me had nothing to do with me being on the job. I was off. They sent it to my personal email. That's how they got this information to me. They gave this to angry cops, not Detective High. So now I can talk about it. And I know everything about this case because it was my case. But that's the hardest thing that has been, is watching people shit on me on the internet because I can't give them everything right off the rip. You've got to ask for a FOIA request because I'm already on thin ice. I'm already going out and being a fucking whistleblower. I'm already putting, the spotlight on my city and my department.
I mean, you're doing it. You're doing it.
I can't do anything more without literally just ruining my reputation with my department.
Break your balls and destroy your career, or in this case, lose your job so that you can prove that you're not a crash out in line for clout. Sooner or later, everybody arrives at the Carl position. Sooner or later, everybody arrives at the Carl position. It's the most retarded shit in existence, and I hate the word influencer and wish that we could just be able to crash out as current or ex-workers of a group without us having to have X amount of years removed from the service, so that the cases that we're a part of are no longer necessary to be discussed.
And then just going through files and just sending everybody stuff. And then I would completely understand. If I was unhinged like that and just gave everything away, that I would be suspended. So I can't cross that line.
And you, like, again, you are even making us, like Nick, as you said earlier, you submitted a FOIA request. So did I. We are doing it the right way because Rich is following the rules that he has to follow. And he's like, hey, here, like, you have to do it this way. He's just like, here's how you submit for that. And we have to follow those guidelines. But that's going to be a week to a month to get this shit out, get the ball rolling on that stuff. And it's delay. And unfortunately, with the internet or something like this, 2 weeks on the internet, it's fucking gone. People forget about it.
2 weeks on the internet is 5 years. Unless you put it in their face. And you're large. And you're viral. So that when you mention it, they don't come up with some bullshit half-told story from somebody recapping it from your live stream. They pull the VOD immediately. And you can answer them at the speed of Twitch chat. Most cancerous experience.
So that's why right now it's, hey, update, here you go, roll this out so these people are actually held accountable for their actions or lack thereof actions.
As far as that stuff goes, with the department itself, is it productive? Because I saw a lot of people like calling people within the Buffalo Police Department and stuff like that. Is that the way you would recommend going about it, or is that just going to make things hard for you? Because to my understanding, the Buffalo Police Department is the one that is upset about being stonewalled about this.
So if you want to call somebody and make a complaint, call the Board of Education, call the mayor. If you want to see an investigation that is beyond the Buffalo Police Department, which at this point I believe it should be, right? There's so many moving pieces that the district attorney's office is involved because the schools are ignoring subpoenas by them. They're not assisting and they're obstructing investigations by the Buffalo Police Department, and they're also not reporting them, right? When you have the district attorney's office, the Buffalo Police Department, you know, and you could even go with like New York State Bar, like where, because lawyers aren't responding to subpoenas, you know, there's the U.S. Board of Education. When you have all these things together, you can't have all these individual investigations going on and not talk to one another. So in a perfect world, somebody a step above the district attorney's office and the Buffalo Police Department would be investigating this, whether it be the AG's office, the U.S. attorneys, the FBI, the New York State Bar, but the bar is more towards, you know, lawyers that do something incorrectly, not really criminal aspects of it. Even, you know, the AG Pam Bondi's office, you know, the AG, that's where I think where the investigation needs to go. So people like tagging them, emailing them, that I think is where it needs to go. And I think one of the important things, I forget if we talked about it or not, is to have family members like the mom and dad of these kids that think that they reported something to the school and that the school did the right thing and reported it to the police, is those people need to go to a Buffalo Police District station house and request the report with their child's name on it. You know, bring your ID and then you'll know. Was there a report even done, or was it intentionally mislabeled, or was it done appropriately? And if it wasn't, you feel free to email takethehighroad@gmail.com.
Great idea, by the way.
Well, yeah, who thought up of Take the High Road? Was it Eli?
It was the other. I think that was fucking the people, right, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I suggested it, but that idea came straight from the comment section. It just kind of became the official slogan of all of this.
High Road was taken, so Show was like, I got Take the High Road. I was like, Show, that's beautiful.
It's Take the High Road at gmail.com?
HY. Yep, HY.
That's one of the many, many instances of our army of autists coming in clutch to make sure that this happens.
And I really appreciate them. You know, it was rough the first couple of days trying to deal with this. And then, you know, I made my little video saying, hey, thanks for the support. I appreciate it. You know, by the way, to everybody that's been pooping on me back home, I'm in Boston trying to find the missing children of Buffalo. So thanks. And that video got a lot of positive comments, and it definitely rubbed my tummy, made me feel a little bit better.
And
we might have to cut this part, but I just got another email.
Oh?
What'd you get?
One of the directors of the Buffalo Public Schools Safety and Security is a fired Buffalo police officer that was handed the job by Kreiner Cash because he was his driver. The news refused to report on this after the McKinley shooting took place a few years back. He has been investigated internally several times for his treatment of employees. I thought this might interest you. I would really like to remain anonymous.
I rest my case.
And then they sent me several links regarding this.
Was he fired? Did it say fired Buffalo Cop?
It says fired Buffalo Cop.
Oh, but that's
hard.
not a fucking red flag.
I mean, it's fairly hard to get fired as a cop in Buffalo. You guys are union, aren't you?
For union, we just fired a couple people. You gotta mess up pretty good, and when you mess up pretty good, you're gone. Like that.
That, and I imagine there's a lot of people that really want Rich to have been fired over the years, and he's still here. He's still kicking.
Thanks, India Walton.
Whoa, so what next would just be like any worries from you for like before we close this out? What are your worries?
I've got one more. I forgot, but basically a preschool either teacher's aide or teacher, in order to discipline, this is preschool kids, in order to discipline the kids in preschool, she would put them in the bathroom and turn off the lights and then put her foot against the door so the kid's gonna get out.
What?
Well, that's fucking neat.
And that's like sensory deprivation. Like that's how you like
That's
mess with
cruel and
people's
unusual
mind.
punishment.
So you're doing this to like a 4-year-old.
This is how like problems. This is how problems start, and that that's so many different problems with that fucking situation. You have, again, you're shutting a kid in darkness, creating a new fear. Also, then you're going to have the repercussions of, hey, this is an adult I'm supposed to trust. Now you're breaking trust. Now you're not going to. You're going to have anxiety around adults. You're not going to trust, or you're going to have confusion of who to trust and who not to trust, and fear as you get older. That is just a world of so messed up to do to a 4-year-old. That's like lasting repercussions.
Then little Timmy becomes a rapist. And then his report doesn't get reported because somebody happens to know somebody on the inside and they got handed a job as a freebie. And it's your son and or daughters or both that have to pay the cost. In blood, in mud, or in ass.
Person is still, I have their name. That person is still at the school. That person's just not allowed in that classroom anymore.
Wait, they fucking kept, they weren't fired?
They're still in the same school.
They're still around kids?
They're still
let's see, but
I believe the email said they're still an active teacher. They're just not allowed to teach kindergartners anymore. So it's fine to lock kids in the bathroom with no lights as long as they're tall enough to activate the light switch, apparently.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to violate the 8th Amendment rights of a kindergartner? Like, I did not have that on my bingo card, but all right.
Jesus.
yeah, they're both still working at the school, and I have the person's name.
Do we have FOIA requests out for that yet?
No, I only have the person's last name.
Okay, I can write one today.
Okay.
So what is the next, what are any fears that might, what are your biggest fears with this, like going unacknowledged?
Is that there's no continued investigation. Like there's no investigation. Right now, the Buffalo Public Schools are saying that they're doing their own third-party investigation, which doesn't mean
That doesn't mean jack shit.
jack shit to me, right?
Two brain cells, both firing at the same time.
They're buying their own lawyer, their own investigator to do an investigation on themselves. And what's going to happen when that investigator finds a criminal aspect to this? Like failing to report is it's crime in New York State. It's New York State Penal Code, and I forget what the number is, but it's a mandated reporter not reporting, right? That is a thing. It's a misdemeanor that you can be arrested for, right? So what are they going to find? What are they going to do when they find that a crime has been committed and that people have failed to report?
They're going to label it information only.
They're going to label it information only and bury that shit. So honestly, unless it's the this is, like I said, there's so many moving parts, especially with the DA's office not having subpoenas be responded to, that this is above the Buffalo Police Department. This has to be at a minimum the DA's office. at a minimum, the DA's office has to do an investigation.
And they've elected to remain silent so far.
Which is disheartening, because I don't know how anybody could look at this and say, I think that sticking up for kids is going to make us look bad.
Is there the election coming up?
Not for another 3 years, but I got a long fucking memory.
Brother, listen.
Just for
Even if it was coming up for an election, this now falls to the hand of the police chiefs and, again, the sheriffs and the news affiliates. Sure, they keep it undercover and under wraps, and people don't remember it, and they don't hold on to the harbor anger long enough for it to be relevant, and those that vote will not vote enough turn for it to matter. But I think it's more about the fact that the community is aware of who's doing what, and the ball is stopped before it can even get snowballed down the hill. Which, jail, for even attempting to hide it to begin with.
personal note to the DA, there's currently a civil suit that just got settled in 2023 for $10 million because a man was sexually assaulted when he was a child. And he was sexually assaulted when he was 11 years old. And what ended up happening with this case in 1978 was he was caught by Buffalo PD receiving acts from an 11-year-old in his car at a park, and the cops arrested him immediately and tried to press charges and have charges pressed, obviously for acts with an 11-year-old. And what ended up happening was, because this gentleman was connected and had friends, the DA and a local judge received, I forget what you call it, but essentially letters from people vouching for his credibility.
Anybody remember Quiet on the Set and Mr. Pickleboy? And all of those words of wisdom and encouragement and support that was given to Brian Peck from members of organization, from actors and figures like James Marsden and heads of Nickelodeon and of syndication? Those. Letters of commendation and recommendation of character class definition, or character definition. Those were the letters that were received on behalf of the person that he's trying to describe.
Character witness.
Character witness. He had character witness letters, and then he was evaluated by a psychiatrist that said he probably won't do it again. So the DA's office and the local judge decided to not press charges. He then went on to be a sitting board member of the Lovejoy Elderly and Youth Program for years, where he presumably assaulted more people. So, DA's office, you can be that DA, or you can be the DA that does your fucking job. Up to you.
Yeah, we would love nothing more than to give huge kudos to somebody for cracking down on this and being the person to blow this wide open. You know, if an investigation actually happened and people lost their jobs or went to jail over shit like this, over, you know, just basic accountability, we would love to just applaud them for doing that. But instead, everybody seems like their immediate action is just to stonewall even harder, pretend they're investigating, and attack Rich's character. And if that's the way you want to fucking play this, we can do this all day.
It's pretty much an open offer to anybody that wants to grow a spine and do the right thing. Everybody in this video right now can build up a person and their career just as fast as we can tear it down. So if you're going to be the person that steps in and does the right thing, we're going to be in your fucking corner for you getting reelected or promoted to continue doing the right thing.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. You have our full weight, and I guarantee our community's weight behind you too.
Yeah, this isn't just one way, trolling, we just want to attack people. No, we just want the right fucking thing to happen, and we're willing to do whatever's necessary.
Especially
The problem is that if it's characterized as trolling, here's how the news is going to play it. Oh, we're being trolled by a bunch of podcasters who decided to put their thumb on the issue. They're people of no regard. Just ignore what they're saying. When it gets to the point where people have to sit in a tribunal and hear from the children who are crying that you failed, and hear from others that you fail, you want to seal the records and have it dealt within the unions, and then dealt within the school district, and it just be a really ugly mark on your record. That means that instead of being able to make a job career push, you now are stuck at the school that you're at. No. This needs to be something that haunts you to the ends of your days. You stay up at night No matter how big of a family you get, even worse if you have children in your family and they're around the age of the children that are assaulted. This is shit that they want to have you harm for your life, because this is not about clout on the internet. It's about, we're going to play the game of obstructing justice because you believe we don't have power. I'm biblically putting dirt in your eye. And I'm all for it. I'm all for a strategic crash out. Because if there's ever a time to crash out, it's here and now in this moment. Because if they play the angle of saying that it's trolling, well, is it trolling when I get the DA to do his job? Is it trolling when you lose your job because you didn't want to do your job? Is it trolling when he was getting fucked in the ass? Was it trolling when she was getting raped and now has to live with a child of said rape because the family can't afford the abortion? Is it trolling when it follows you for the rest of your career? Probably. Is it trolling when people hear about the reasons why you're being moved around from place to place to place to place to place to place to place? Are you going to sit there and say, damn you, unsubscribe podcast? Or are you going to say, maybe I should have done my job? Maybe it's not because of them. Maybe it's because of the way you look, SpongeBob. And it looks like you're getting 5 to 10 with no possibility of parole. Sometimes we have superpowers. Very rarely do people use them correctly. But I am one who will definitely use mine correctly. If it were me. But it's not me. But I'm hearing about it. But that's okay. I co-sign. I subscribe.
With kids, like anything with children, special needs, anyone that needs help, doesn't have a voice, that is our job, like, to protect them, to help them, to guide them. They are our future.
Well, I'm getting the look, boys.
Okay. Yeah, you rich, thank you.
Do you look fat? No, you don't look fat. You look adorable. You're not a fat sausage. I'll help you tie them, and we're closing right now. You're welcome. She's pretty, and she deserves a night out because she's been stressed because of my life, and I also haven't seen her a bunch, so I gotta give the woman props. She's been amazing through this.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for sharing.
Translation, my wife wants me to fuck her. I must do a Mr. Fantastic.
All that, the updates, and Nick, awesome job of your own personal research and going above and beyond. And that goes for all the guys. Just really, Twitter, social media, X, whatever you want to call it, all y'all have been stepping up and really getting the message out there, and it's awesome to see, and I am super proud of you all, and same for the community. Y'all are crushing it. Y'all are forcing people to look at this shit and acknowledge it. So thank you to each and every one of you out there.
And I've never seen anybody on the fucking receiving end of a fat electrician TISM research hole. And frankly, it's terrifying, and I'm glad we're friends.
Yeah. Right. Nick, hold up that book you just pulled out.
I'm
He made a binder.
That's binders, dude.
He got a tracker keeper of bullshit.
I am so far up the school district's ass. If they open their mouth, I'm going to use them as a telescope, okay? I'm fucking all over it.
Nick has pink eye.
Oh, and what these poor bastards don't even know is it's only just begun. We just gave them a taste. We're about to go knee deep.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it.
This is just the tip so far.
Just the tip, baby.
Well,
Take that, investigative journalists. We've got an electrician.
we got a fat, angry electrician.
Channel 4, we have a Hulk.
People listen to you because of your job. I have this job because people listen to me. We're not the same thing.
Cody, you want to close it out, you beautiful boy?
Everyone, thank you for coming to another special episode of the Unsubscribed Podcast. I was joined today by Angry Cops, that electrician, Eli Double Tap, Brandon Herrera, myself, Donut Operator. Thank you so much.
And there is the updates, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Read as long as you need, Richardson. God, don't stop. Count them! Based. Upsetting. Irritating. And the first thing on the docket before or even got to complaining about it to me. I'm being tagged. 1 second. Okay. Star says hi, everyone. And this... Why was I tagged twice? Why was I tagged twice? Interesting. Anyways. Next up, this lame-ass fucking hit piece and the shame that it comes with. This shit is gay as all get out. Did it break? It broke. This gay ass bullshit.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Content Deputy. Now normally in a Content Deputy I would dance around in my cop outfit in the woods, but this video isn't going to have any of that fanfare. We're not
going to have any of the fun. We're just going to get straight into how I proved that the Content Cop was garbage. And a funnier thing, but I'll fill you in on that at the end.
straight into it. I was hoping that if I made a video about Ethan, he would act like an adult and he would keep the attacks directed at me and Anissa.
If I talked shit about my friend and I lied about him, he would shut the fuck up, bend the fuck over, and take it in the ass and do what I told him to. But he didn't do that, so now I'm going to harass him even more than I already did by choosing to lie about him and the things he was talking about, thus proving his point.
Unfortunately, I was wrong in thinking that, because Ethan, in a desperate attempt to attack and smear Anissa and I...
Desperation is when you explain how a person has left out key categorical details that are important to the reason why you're upset, and now frame you as being a person who's being upset. Hashing out! And not having a relevant reason to call you on what you said. Because your silence means something! That's why Harley dropped out, and Lana dropped out, and why AB is going back and forth on the timeline, back and forth over there against Frogan, and why everybody's on your ass, and why people are laughing at you, and asking, why did you even follow up that debate? The instant it was over, because it was 5 hours of the sounds of Holy Grail, based to the sounds of Hassan Piker crying in the distance, and all of us laughing alongside of it.
He started attacking our charity event.
I don't know if you know this, but the last year they lost $250,000. To be charitable, you actually have to give money to charity, Hassan. You have to give money to be charity. It's like a slush fund for them.
Ethan and Hila are well aware that we raised $1.3 million for charity.
How much of that was spent before, and how much of it had a net positive or a net negative after the event? You are gish galloping. You didn't raise enough money. Stupid.
The first year of Creator Clash. The second year we operated at a loss, and I take full responsibility.
Which means you lost money! Why'd you even open your mouth? Stupid!
For that. We did band together. The community and the fighters involved ended up raising $175,000 for charity. It's been really disheartening to see how often Ethan will attack Creator Clash through us, or attack us through Creator Clash.
Ian and Anissa, masters of putting on an event.
He's reposting random troll accounts that are very easy to vet. If you click on this profile, it has a bunch of Sam Hyde adjacent posts, and it just...
It's starting! Sam Hyde. We were being harassed and trolled by Sam Hyde. You reposted Sam Hyde. Therefore, this is not worthy and it is also not important. Sam Hyde. You reposted Sam Hyde. Trolling, Sam Hyde, trolling.
Just hates Anissa and I. Come on, dude. You're one step away from calling me a cuck. Just take
he's got the music. He's got the Wiggity Slinker music.
Plunge. He's highlighting this post that equates Creator Clash to a crypto rug pull.
Because it is. I said I'd wait. No, I can't giggle. Not yet. I can't laugh. Not yet. Now's not the time. We'll talk about that one after the video.
He's saying the event is going to be worse than TanaCon. Can't wait for them to blame us for their failed event. Don't worry, Hila. I'm not going to blame you guys for anything Creator Clash related. I know you're terrified of taking accountability for anything, so that will rest solely on my shoulders. But I can't speak for the internet. The internet might actually blame you guys for it. Now, with this recent revelation that people are just going to use Creator Clash to attack Anissa and I,
it was your baby. You are the boxer who can't box, and she is the event sponsor who can't plan or sort or fix or execute on an event. Cope!
Anissa and I have decided to step away from Creator Clash.
And now I can laugh. So, you say that it's not a rug pull, and then you do the demonstrable thing that would cause it to be demonstrably like the Fire Fest, which is you are leaving them up battle in Schitt's Creek with a leaky nut in the butt. It was built off of your name. It was built off of your size. It was built off of who you didn't and did want. You decided who wasn't allowed. You decided who was banned. You decided to destroy good opportunities, good entertainment, and good content because no, I personally don't like them. I don't want them associated with my event. And now you're leaving the event that is responsible on your honor and your word to be the thing people wanted to get involved into. So, it means it's completely like a rug pull. You rug pulled them. You rug pulled them and left your sponsors and investors without recourse. So, now that you've left, and you and Anissa are not affiliated with it, because in your frame, we're trying to make sure it doesn't blow back on them because people will use the event to attack us. Can Froggy be a part of the event now? Can Sam Hyde be a part of the event? Can anybody who you decided wasn't worthy, wasn't good enough to be on the card, can they be a part of the sponsorship? Can they do business with Happy Punch? Because you know what would be really funny? What would be really funny is if Sam Hyde, because he does have part of this with Sam Rochefort, who's a part of $1 Million Extreme, because Sam has a bit of an investment in Happy Punch, which means him and Keemstar. It'd be really funny if Sam Hyde were to buy the event and have any part sponsorship in it, and then had a response in billing the cards. It would be the biggest fucking shame that would have great humor across the entire internet. You had to lose money on the second event and leave the third event in order for the event to be profitable. Which means the worst part of the event was the both of you. Both of them! Don't bust that nut yet. There's still more rage to come.
we have relinquished control to our business partners who ran the previous two events. They're very capable. They know exactly what they're doing. They run events on a regular basis. The event is still happening. Anissa and I just don't have...
Why is it still happening? Again, Lana dropped, Harley dropped. Harley was your tier 1 showstopper. Without him at that event, you don't have a title card that's worth a damn for your event. There's no storyline, there's no build-up, there's no real interest to get people to go watch who would be replacing Lana in the fight against Funky Frogbait. I do not want to watch a small twink of a woman get beaten by someone that isn't going to be in that card, because that's how you build the card. Very interesting that you chose to bill it that way, by the way, as this drama's going on, and now you don't even have that to fall back on. This is a scam if you do not cancel this event and the seats. Please tell me that none of the money is going to you, because if all of the proceeds are going to charity, I want to make sure that I see it. I want to see the names. I want to see the numbers. I want to see the sheets. Otherwise, this was a scam that you took money in. That's how we should all sell it. Until you prove otherwise. But you're not trustworthy people. So we can't even go there. You decided to take it here. Now we're taking it further. That's how drama works on the internet.
Have any financial ties. We don't have any ownership. We are, I think just going to be known as the founders of the event. Yeah, I mean, I think it had to come to this eventually. I can't keep my mouth shut. I can't, I can. I just didn't want to. I want to be frank. I want to be honest. I was very quiet during...
You could be Gerald. You could also be Clyde. Stay in your place. Don't backstab your friend. Tell the truth. Don't decide to side with the people who are bullying your friend. These are things you could have done. You chose not to. It was your choice. Horrible choice.
During the second creator clash, because I was afraid of how that would impact other people. This year,
because it was going to impact them horribly? Because it would have been you definitely taking point and cause to your side and acting in a capacity that would not be helpful for all parties involved? Question mark?
Said I'm going to do something different. I'm going to fight back if someone's trying to attack me. So that's what I did. And now I've realized, like, I can't really have my cake and eat it too. It's either you're going to talk shit like a foul beast on the internet, or you're going to have a charity event. You know, it really can't be both. I'm very proud of...
Actually, it can be both. You just can't do it while you're getting constantly struggle sessioned by the left wing. You're not allowed to be based and be yourself. We understand. We understand. You're a pussy. You're a pussy. We understand. We understand. Completely cucked. Completely ass broken. Your wife owns you. She owns your balls and the lack of semen inside of them. And the two of you deserve each other because she is your punishment. I get it. 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 I get it.
Of the event that we made with Creator Clash. It's still happening, June 28th. I'm just not going to be involved in it. Please, for the love of God, support this event. You know,
we will not. I will be speaking dirt and putting dirt in the eye of the event. Fuck you.
I feel like in some ways I'm like cutting off an arm so that I could escape the bear trap, and so I can...
What's trapping you? What's the trap? A bear trap implies that somebody put something out in order to patrol the area and keep it safe from a known predator. Are you saying you're a predator? And if the bear trap isn't meant for you, who is it meant for? Why do you feel like you have to cut off your arm and spite your face? What's the problem? Tell us. Break it down. You decided to make a fucking video where you decided not to tell people the honest truth, make up a bullshit timeline narrative where you lied actively about the reasons why CPS were called, as well as not telling people whatsoever, leaving out key information that would allow for the persuasive argument that was being made by Ethan Klein of H3AC Productions. So why don't you break it down now? Got 32 whole minutes! 32 whole minutes! And 28 extra seconds! Please! Elucidate! No one else knows but you! Talk!
Fight? Well, that's a bad analogy. You guys get it. We've already told all the fighters...
No, Ian Joma. I don't get it. I want to understand. I want to know. Tell me.
And it seems like most people understand that this is the best move. If the previous Content Cop was entertaining to you, or this video is entertaining, or you like the message, the best thing that you can do, for me, is to support Creator Clash.
I'm not going to do that.
Buy a ticket, buy a pay-per-view ticket, an in-person ticket, or donate to the fundraiser.
I'm not doing any of those things. If I choose to, I'll probably make a date for what happens, and we'll probably watch a illegal VOD of it if somebody's recording the event, or we will just simply see what is posted when the fights go live, and notice if there's any actual real billing for the fights to get any interest going into the event, which they probably won't be, because you guys suck at fucking billing.
See this event do well. You know, I didn't try this shit because I thought I was going to be a good boxer.
No, you tried it so that you could be able to court friendships with influencers amongst Twitch streamers. Because if there's one thing that is very clear, we are firmly in post-COVID, word I'm looking for, recession material. People are bored as shit. And they are not entertained with the material people are bringing up. They do not care about the content that they're watching. That's why people got so bored and got so fully pseudo-invested with dramas like OnlyFans concerning pirate software. Or this drama that I covered just today with the posted video over Marvel Rivals. Or dipping into games and playing games like Strinova or Marvel Rivals or Eternal Return. They are bored. They are bored. With all the content that is available, all the shows that are available, and the lack of entertainment therein, it is Marvel, Daredevil, bored again. It's the same shit on the same channels. They're bored of it, and so they're dipping into the drama. The drama is more important and more interesting than any of the shit you have going on personally. So, they're just simply getting involved in that way. And They do not care. They want to know what is good. You can't tell them. And so, they go to whoever can tell them about whatever fucking content that happens to come up on the timeline. And then you decide to use that as a way to get people interested and involved. And we end up back here with the same ass bullshit because the dramas never last. At least with the Hassan H3 drama, it was a back and forth of a true hero and a true victim. Even if he continues to be left-wing in his politics, he has become conservative in his friendships. We learned a true detail of exactly how dogshit a content creator is, to the point that material crossed over the timeline. And everybody now knows how bad you are. All of China now knows that you are a simp for the CCP, and a simp for the Palestinian movement, Hassan Piker, and more importantly, iDubbbz and Anissa Joma. We now know how full into the left wing of the extreme far left you are. You're willing to back the play of Micah PA, who recently has decided to make more death threats, but that comes later. We know that you're on the side of the people harassing him, that you're all for the harassment, because hey, listen, kids don't remember the harassment that happens to them. And Lord knows whether or not the Israelis chose to hate crime fucking Frogan's eyebrows. More about that coming up soon. What a little guest star from your boy Tectone. We know firmly what side you're on. We know what your standards are, where your line is. And because of that, you got involved to an event where you could get good free press that would keep you relevant so you wouldn't have to make content cops, because you don't want to be a part of the old content. You are firmly the new iDubbbz. The fucking lame iDubbbz. But you now have to contend with the fact that if you're stepping away from the event, that means your dream died. It was never going to really succeed, based on who you are now. But it means your dream is died, it's dead, and you don't get to use this as clout anymore. And when you hide behind your new friends, you don't get to say, well, I thought if I had harassed him myself that he'd only harass me, but instead he started harassing the people that I didn't want him to talk about, even though I kept lying on behalf of them. Moving forward.
I didn't think I would be an awesome event organizer, and you know, now I'm finally back to where I started, which is making fucking content cop videos.
No, you're not, because these are not content cop videos. You're not back to being an edgelord. You are a safe, edgy content creator, just like the rest of them.
I don't want to make this too ham-fisted, but I kind of do want to make it ham-fisted, because I'm like, I spent my last fucking 4 years working on this stupid boxing shit. I mean, it was worth it, absolutely, but like, it's
not with the words you just said. You said stupid fucking boxing shit. You're gonna crash out? You're gonna cry? You're gonna whine? You're gonna whine about it? You're mad that it didn't work out? Does it make you mad? Are you upset? Don't care. Cope. That's what happens sometimes. Blood unironically crying like a smaller content creator. How sad. How droll. How lame. What a pussy.
It's crazy that I've just returned to content. Having said all that, Creator Clash ticket link down in the description. Go check it out, buy tickets, support the charity, support the fighters, and have a good-ass time. I mean...
Don't you support it!
Ultimately, I think it's a good thing, because I think I am meant to roll around in shit. I think me and Ethan are both meant to be rolling around in pig shit all day long, and other people are meant to do boxing or debating or whatever else. Ethan and me, pig shit rolling around type of fellas.
You underestimate my strength! I've got kosher strength! The will of the Lord! I mean Yahweh! Yahweh!
I think the worst criticisms I labeled at Ethan is that he's a bad boss, a tyrant of a boss. I just implied that he was being taken advantage of by people either in his community or outside of his community, and I called him a bitch-made coward. That was like the summary of personal insults labeled at Ethan. Before Ethan even knew what my video was about, he was already framing me as anti-Semitic.
But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys, right?
I don't know if that's what the video is.
I'm one of you. I fucking hate Jews too, guys. Let's get after it. Israelis have no right to defend themselves, actually. All Israelis are settlers, actually. What is he going to give me a history lesson now? Is he a historian? Yeah, he just discovered empathy, by the way, and only extends to the point where you're actually talking about Jewish people or Israelis. Then empathy stops and they should all be murdered. Bro's actually out there like Timothy McVeigh. He's running to the closest fucking kindergarten to blow it up. There's a Jew. I heard there's a Jewish.
That's not what Timothy McVeigh did.
They want all you guys to quit and for me to just be like alone. Little Jew boy alone.
Like Ethan, under a year ago, was saying he doesn't use anti-Semitism in that way. He's not a guy to call anything and everything anti-Semitic.
You know, in my whole life, I've never screamed foul on anti-Semitism. I literally have been getting this shit since the second I stepped foot on the internet, and I have never fucking ever done this. Okay, so the people online, they're saying, oh, Ethan's making himself a victim or Ethan's making everything about anti-Semitism. I've done this once in my life right now.
But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys, right?
I don't know if that's what the video is.
I mean, I get that he's scared and offended, but this was the whole fucking point.
Scared and offended, annoyed, calling out all of the basic talking points of people who will refuse to address points and comments directly when he has to bring that up to their face so that they can't dismiss it and say that he's crazy. Very interesting choice of words.
Point of my video, Ethan. I was saying that you shouldn't be doing this. It led to me making this video in the first place. You were triggered by this CPS harassment thing, and then you immediately equated Anissa and I to it.
You didn't involve it in your video to begin with in the first place. The only first time you are mentioning it now in the series of these two videos is in the second one. The one that is the follow-up to the basic stochastic terrorism that you chose to exact upon your former friend. You asshat!
That was sloppy, and that was horrendous, and it was horrendous for us. And now you're doing it again.
I'm gonna watch it live.
Should you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. But like, why?
I just don't think, I feel like you're gonna get really emotional and say something you regret.
Well, I've got the button.
Like, I know you don't have a problem taking it head on, but I just feel
Of course not, because I know that
you're
whatever...
understandably upset, and I feel like it might be a little...
Should we wait to talk about it, or you want to talk about it?
We should do it off stream. Because I don't know, this escalated initially because we were live and you guys were heated about, I forget what it was.
I just think it might be wise to watch it, think out your thoughts, and respond in a calm way. Because there's no chance that you don't get heated.
I don't need to fucking pre-watch this. I don't need someone else to hold my hand through it. Like, I'm ready to take on anything that these people have to say about me. He's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys. I'm one of you. I fucking hate Jews too, guys.
You attacked us, so I attacked back, and now you're acting surprised and shocked, and you're doing it all on your podcast live. So naturally, you reacting live is you having an emotional reaction and seeing things that honestly are scary.
I just said I vented about them not defending me. What the fuck is he like? He's actually losing his shit and I just can't believe it, dude.
Should you call him up?
So go fuck yourself.
I agree. Fair weather friends who are so happy to be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
Ian sucks for the same reason right now. He could say something
spineless. Our POV is like, fuck everybody, and I don't want to hear any excuses. You're not my...
He did the thing, guys. He did the thing. He did the edit meme that I've been talking about for months at this point. The one where he plays the effect of the clip and then it goes brrr. He's doing the bit. He's being a yoinkity swanker for drama.
Your friend, and you never were, and you never will be. You never will be.
What's very insane about this content cop is I was thinking about Ethan's feelings so much in that video. I thought about the idea of like how I shouldn't be saying the term Zionist or Zionism in that video, because I was like, he has explained before that that's personally insulting to him and he doesn't like that. You know, regardless of how true it is, I was like, I'm going to think about Ethan's feelings and not mention this. Fast forward to him reacting to my video, he's just outright calling me a fucking Nazi.
Is it a coincidence that Ian really shaved his head just before doing this video and he's holding a swastika one? I mean, we can free Palestine without being a Nazi. You fucking Nazis. How about that? Well, this is the white savior, Ian, who's just found empathy, unless you're Jewish, of course.
Ethan, people are allowed to shave their head and not be called anti-Semitic. I mean, if you're going to critique his podcast or be pissed off that he personally insulted you, even that is enough to be called anti-Semitic is fucking crazy. Now, I don't want to talk about Hassan's sword. I don't want to talk about Hassan's sword hilt because Ethan himself basically admitted already multiple times he doesn't think any of us did that intentionally. And he would be right.
Do I think any of them actually like wanted to put a swastika in the photo? No,
Yeah,
no. I don't actually think that. The chances that they did on purpose is close to zero, right? So I'm not accusing them.
I picked up a random sword in Hassan's room that was laying around. That could be the end of the discussion. You don't actually need to debate Hassan about the sword hilt.
He left it up.
Decision-making
If
of
it was a mistake, he could have deleted it.
But I'm not going to delete the photo because that would be indulging in your weird anti-Semitic fantasies.
We can free Palestine without being a Nazi. You fucking Nazis. How about that?
I'm done being nice to Ethan. I gave it a chance.
Being nice was when I tried to pass off shit again in front of a live studio audience of millions. That was you being nice. Now you're gloves off. Okay.
Sincerity and my empathy in that last video was real. I was even equating to him having crash out moments in the same way that Denims could have crash out moments. I think we're all capable of it, but he was using it in the video to suggest that I was making fun of his mental health.
To my good friend Ian of 8 years, I really appreciate you weaponizing my mental health against me.
To make Ethan crash out. He's having a parasocial, weird crash out. People can have crash out moments. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help. Dude, I'm not making fun of your mental health. Every example you used was me basically saying that other people are trying to affect you. It's understandable that you're going through this right now, Ethan. We all go through this.
To characterize and
what does that sentence sound like? Does it sound like, Ethan, you know, when you say things, people are they're gonna come away with a certain opinion, I can't stop them? That's the same shit Hassan said to him on Leftovers. So it's not done in good faith. You're bullshitting.
anything I'm doing as crashing out, that I need help, that I need to get some kind of treatment, is cruel and pathetic on a level I didn't think he would ever be possible of doing.
Every fucking example that you tried to smear me with was me actually pointing to something else that could be affecting you. He even brought up the clip of me saying, if you get help. We all need help. Everyone on this planet needs help. I don't care how you get it. You can wander into the jungle and go on an ayahuasca trip. I don't care how you get your help or what you define as help. But if it helps you, that would be good. Because right now it doesn't seem like you're getting much help. The main criticism that I was seeing online with my video from Ethan and Hila is that I didn't mention the CPS call.
There's really just one central point that I want to make here. My good friend Ian, in his hour-long takedown, did not mention one time Child Protective Services. Not one time.
There was not even one mention of CPS.
And a lot of the clips he uses is us fired up from the day that CPS came to us.
So like
without even explaining that at least that's the context, it's pretty cowardly.
I wonder why I wouldn't mention the CPS call. Could it be that the CPS call happened the same day that you were
and this is the lie,
shit-talking me, and I didn't have any chance to defend myself? You just immediately...
That's not the case. Evidence can show, and even Papa Gut has noticed this, although he's not the first person to have noticed it. He's probably the first one whose mention went viral, that there was at least a 2 to 3 day time period, because Bad Empanada's post being read and being seen on the Giardia stream from Denims was the timeline in which you had to post. You had 2 days of time in reaction to all this being said that it could have been included, and you didn't. And instead, you posted the video, and you posted it in such a way where it appears, and I believe you've also admitted as such, if I'm wrong about that, then that's on me, but appears that you posted this material in such a way that it would be live when he was live on his episode. So, you had plenty of time in which to make the content, and then put it out. You ignored that timeline, and then constructed this bullshit timeline to say, well, I didn't have time to react, when you had full advanced knowledge, because you're relating to, and talking to, and now friendly with the people who are in fact trying to push him to crash out live on camera to get live reactions out of him, including the fact that Bad Empanada has now gone from attacking Hassan, from attacking with Hassan's consent Ethan Klein, to now attacking AB directly on his feed, with the smug responses that they were giving at the same time that it was happening. So, with this lie acknowledged, which one is it? Are you not aware of the timeline, or is everybody else crazy and delusional? Can't be both. Because I noticed it, Papa Gut noticed it, Harmful Opinions noticed it, shit, even fucking, Rob's Media, Liquid Sonic, and several different members amongst the commentary community. One who I know is a fact of Foggy, but Foggy was covering some content last night, so he probably wouldn't remember without having somebody give him a presser and hand him the example in the timeline for him to notice it so he can be able to recall it back again. But even Jim, even Mr. Medicare noticed it. So, which one is it? Which one is it?
In the same podcast, right next to each other, said, CPS call was very traumatic. And then you said, fuck Ian and Anissa. And you linked those together, you kind of layered those flavors, and then Anissa and I got a bunch of harassment. We had nothing to do with the CPS call. What are all these fucking comments?
You actually do, because if you don't mention this context, and you don't explain, hey, we weren't involved with the CPS call, but I do not want my opinions to be considered as approval of the people who did it. Just because I'm talking about what my friend is doing or not doing does not mean that you guys get off scot-free. All of you that were involved, fuck you for doing that. That's all you probably could have had to say to address it in that moment, as well as acknowledging that it happened, and that while you weren't directly involved with it, you were also not about to let them pass over that event without mention. But unfortunately, that's not what you did. That's not what you said. Damn, I got two. That's not what you did. That's not what you said. That's not what was applied. And so, people are looking at you sideways because you're carrying on the way that you are in a way that is inconsistent to your actions. And it's ridiculous. Because all you had to do was just tell the truth. It doesn't require you to do anything else but tell the truth. But you didn't tell the truth. Now you're being forced to tell the truth only because you look bad. So which one's more believable? That you weren't involved, you didn't realize that you made the oopsie foopsie fucksy wucksy on the timeline, or that you made the oopsie poopsie fucksy wucksy on the timeline?
Comments on your Reddit saying, like, it happened because of the CPS call. I don't entirely blame your audience for getting confused because, number one, it's a fucking cult, and number two, you can't even get the timeline straight. So if anyone's watching your dumbass, their brain is also going to get scrambled.
Be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
So again, he's not showing the context. What was the okay, I'll play this part. Did you guys ever find
Just clip chimping, clip chimping, clip chimping, clip chimping.
the context of what I was talking about here? Because I feel like I wasn't even talking about him. I could be wrong. I just don't remember ever saying, like, if I did say that,
I thought you were talking about that.
The consequence of being a broadcaster that talks about multiple things on the timeline. I remember most of my rants because I sit down either in the moment as I'm trying to paste together my words, or I intentionally chose to sit down and find the moment that I wanted to mention to do so. Most of the shit I do is live. So, if I was in his position, and somebody wants to recall a particular one, because I'm on a VOD, I can recall what VOD it was from, and when it was said, and how I said it, and the words I used. For him, not throwaway content that he does as material every day for however long he does the H3 podcast, he's going to forget the shit that he said. Because he doesn't remember exactly the exact words to you, it becomes a lie. He's brain scrambled. Sounds like you're still trying to hit on him for him having a form of memory loss or a form of recall bias. Especially considering the amount of emotion that's being censored here from the people that are creating the emotional reflex. Doesn't matter whether or not he tells the truth, it just matters that you say that he's schizo, I guess. Question mark. Super based, super interesting. Definitely a thing that you should say or do.
Them? About Anissa and Ian in that clip?
That's the same clip of
It's all the
when
part of the same
CPS was
clip.
called.
Yeah.
Same clip.
It's part of the same conversation.
You completely wiped your brain of what happened during the CPS stream. That's not my fucking fault. That's no one else's fault but yours.
All I wanted for you to do was say the bare minimum of like, hey, this is fucked up. This is not true about CPS, whatever. Like the bare minimum. It came up because they were talking about it on their fucking podcast. By the way, they're the ones that like started this conversation by talking about it on the podcast. Be like, hey, I'm not getting involved.
I think that was their response after you guys initially called them out.
This is what I was talking about. You cannot have something terrible happen, be like, yes, let's make some content, and then shit talk your friends of 8 years.
I'm so fired up, I don't even know what to do myself, which is why I'm crying. On the other hand, I don't know if that's a good state to be in life.
That's kind of spitting.
And a lot of the clips he uses is us fired up from the day that CPS came to us.
For anyone confused about the timeline, Ethan was talking shit about us on his Instagram before any CPS shit. He was also talking shit about us on his podcast before any CPS visit. On March 7th, CPS visits Ethan and Hila, and that same day, they decide, let's do our podcast, and let's have the topic be the CPS visit and how distraught we are about that. And then right next to that, right after it, you guys talk about me and Anissa. But you don't just talk about us. You shit talk us, and you imply that we're friends with people who are doing this.
You went to the house of the person who started the problems and the people he is friendly with and do business with in the form of live streaming that maintain the meta-narrative of your actions and his actions. You all record a event in his place. Do you let people you don't know and aren't friendly with in your house? Nigga, be for real!
Try to go as far as you can with the detonation cord.
I let people who are strangers in my house. I let them touch my stuff. I let them touch all my apparel. And then, when I record with their stuff, I go for the Nazi swastika sword. It's so funny. It's so cool.
All placed. Shall we light it up?
I want to pull up the clip, but I can't find it right now.
Who are the ones who are harassing you?
Do you have evidence that H3 Snark called CPS on you?
Did I say
like
that?
Random anonymous Redditors?
Did I say that?
Wait, what's the...
I said they're primary responsible for harassing me.
Who called CPS?
What the fuck? So, I don't know.
To be honest, I'm very proud that I didn't immediately jump to Ethan and Hila's defense, because when you look into the story, it actually looks a lot shittier for Ethan and Hila. And I do mean that literally. There was this H3 stream where Ethan was dumping as per usual. He was talking about his own health. He was talking about his caca breath, his dog having diarrhea, his dog having giardia.
Olive has giardia. It's a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
His child running around putting things in their mouth.
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has giardia.
The whole family possibly having giardia.
Oh.
And now Hila has giardia.
Shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my god.
Jeez, what can I do to not get it?
I'm
trying to, because I'm not trying to get it.
No, it's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
Talking about the viscosity of his child's shit.
And meanwhile, he is covered in viscous, low viscosity diarrhea.
He mentioned diarrhea a lot.
Crazy diarrheas like in the middle of the night. All the time he's having these crazy diarrheas. You wash your hands as best you can, but these are really nasty diarrheas. And then extremely foul smelling diarrheas.
So of course, Ethan, having made so many enemies over the years, other people react to his content. And when other people see that he's talking about his children getting giardia from dog poop,
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has giardia.
people are quite reasonably concerned. And so, yeah.
Why aren't you playing the clips that came from Denon's stream with her chat room? He put that in the content. What, are you scared to put that shit on the stream so you can see exactly how Bad Empanada is speaking? Why don't you put up the clip of Bad Empanada saying it's only going to get worse for you? I have yet not even begun to strike. Why don't you put that one up there too? Are you scared? Why are you scared?
Yes. Anyone who's seeing that content might be concerned enough to call CPS, including Ethan's own chat, which, by the way, is not a measly number. It's about 26,000 at the time of this stream. So there are 26,000 people listening to Ethan go into great detail over 7 or 8 minutes about
waylaying the problems of saying the people who called CPS was his chat room and not the Twitch streamers that you've decided to befriend and come down on the side on. Pussy.
diarrhea, viscosity of diarrhea, his child having giardia, him and his whole family having giardia. They're calling it the poop house. Now what Ethan does, instead of taking any responsibility for sharing too much on his live stream, is that he decides to attack specific creators like Denims and say she was the source of the CPS call because her chat was reacting to Ethan and saying, wow, this is concerning.
Is on her platform right now advocating for our children to be forcibly removed from us by Child Protective Services.
The problem with the CPS thing is that Ethan has proven to be a manipulative piece of shit. So when he calls on me to defend him, what the fuck am I meant to do? I don't trust you, and I'm glad I didn't trust you because in your video defending yourself, you used a video that takes context from like 3 different places and combines them to make it seem like someone is coordinating an attack on you.
Love that.
Because there are people coordinating an attack on him? Question mark?
Made a good point. You said, is this every comment? I believe this is a live feed of the chat. This isn't edited.
What about the top right? I thought these were
No, it's
selected.
this, I think when you full screen it, no, this is an edit. It's a cutout of the full chat. It's just enlarged
Oh,
there,
really?
over the screen, yeah.
They're different, I think.
Yeah.
It's not time, it's not time.
Are people really still stuck on this? I think people are still stuck on this. I roll.
The same way.
But it sounds like based on this clip, you knew that it was bullshit and you just went with it.
If the clip is bullshit, then how did he get the material for it? In order for it to be bullshit, those chatters would have to then be plants. This is the narrative you're going with. He's lying, he's lying, he's lying. If he's lying, why are they all commenting about it on the chat? The easiest way to defer this is just go to the VOD. All VODs on the platform are saved with words and messages in time and signatures when they're posted at the time they're said on the chat. Go to that stream of hers, if she hasn't deleted it already. Go to the VOD point where these chat messages are coming through, and then overlay it using the normal screen. And by that, I mean the side screen that comes up when you're looking at a VOD, the same way it would when you're looking at a live video on the platform. I can demonstrate. Wave to the people, Carl. Recursion. But anyways, this is the live chat right now from my side of the screen. Right over here is the chat room. If you want to be able to show whether or not the person in question is using material in this chat, when you look at the VOD, the message that's being communicated here is going to show up at the same time. The same way that moderator chat from Botrix, as a part of the scanner that posts my banner every so often in the chat room, appears. The content will appear the same on the side at any part of the VOD. So, for fun, who's live right now? Dirty Mobs is live. Let's use Dirty Mobs as an example. So, if I go to a VOD of Dirty Mobs' content on his past broadcast, so his broadcast that's currently going, more than likely, as of 2-ish hours ago. If I go to 10:35, there was a message here at the bottom of the screen at 4:05 from a user called Saf1144 that says hello. Behind that is another post from Smarticles 101 at 5:11, Brother Mobs. It's the middle of the work day. What are you doing? Because Dirty Mobs streams both on YouTube and Twitch. To confirm whether or not he's live on his other side, I go here, I click on this, I type in Dirty Mobs.
Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Dirty Mobs.
It appears that he's not live on both sides right now, so he's just live on YouTube. He usually does both. if I want to see whether or not that post exists, and I was to superimpose it on the screen, and oh my god, these chat rooms don't match, even though he doesn't put the chat room on top of the screen on his material, all I gotta do is go to the VOD, pull up the VOD, look at the chat, and see if the timestamp on the messages are there. It appears to me, if I blow this up and look at it physically, the timestamps, based on what she uses, assuming she uses Botrix as well, as most streamers have made the conversion, they only bring up the banner of their clip. So, to demonstrate that, I'm going to send a message inside of my backend that's connected to the main live broadcast output, which is for YouTube. And then, I'm going to send another message from inside my broadcast from the user side interface, which would be the chat room on the side, for the chat here. If they come up in time, as they should, you can notice on my Botrix chat, as I take this window down, you see how the chat room that comes from Twitch has the broadcaster icon and the 1 year plus submod and the good luck have fun key, and this one that is clearly a chat that comes from the YouTube chat has the crown that shows that I'm the broadcaster. These are the chat messages that you can denote and follow and show come from certain places. It works the same way on Kick as well. So, on the cover of all those messages that are being sent, all you have to do to find out if these messages are accurate is go find the VOD and match it up to the chats that are here and show the timestamps from her chat rooms from the video in question. Since we know when the VOD came from, which is the 1st of March, then we have the ability to show the timeline of the events. A single person does this right now. It blows your fucking narrative out the goddamn water and elucidates the amount of time you have left, because the clip that you have over this shows that it was a few days before. I believe the clip itself says 2 days before the call to CPS from which it was recorded from. If you're gonna go with the narrative saying that he made it up, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake, bullshit, because who would put the messages out there? All these people are plants? And at the same time, the argument isn't, well, he's so schizo-brained he can't remember what's happening, right? The lie is supposed to be, you didn't have time to react. If you're using this clip, the clip shows the time before the reaction. So you have the ability to react at this point. Because if you're siding with these people, and you're deciding to go down with them and record this content cop, clearly that had to take time, right? At no time during the recording of the content cop, the editing of the content cop, the rendering of the content cop, the uploading at the same time it went live on H3 on the content cop, your reaction to the content cop, the fact that he was watching it live and said, no, we're going to watch this later on that night, and then him reviewing your content cop and its reaction, where all these narratives and all these arguments started coming from. Specifically, your narrative, the meta-narrative being pushed by Hassan's supporters, the meta-narrative being pushed by you, by trying to support them, and then the counter-narrative, the truth, that is currently the one you're trying to fight, where you call him schizo, and crazy, and crashing out. How do you go all that time, and you never asked yourself, wait, is this real? Not once. You never did checksums yourself. We already know you're a retard. Let's get that out the goddamn way. You're either a liar, or you're a liar and you're a coward. Or you're incompetent. Which one you want? Pick one. Are you a liar because you're willing to cover for Hassan Piker? Or are you a liar and a coward because you were willing to cover for him before you found out, but then after you found out, ooh, I kind of just sided with the biggest bigot that I could think of. Ooh, this is the biggest bigot you could ever know. Ooh, even Trevor Moore is like reacting in cringe from beyond the grave. Ooh, how do I sell this? I know, I'll say that I didn't have enough time! Or are you just stupid? Because since you don't stream on Twitch, you don't know how the Twitch broadcast works. Pick one. You look dumb either way, pick one. Moving on.
Edited.
What about the top right? I thought these were
No, it's
selected.
this, I think when you full screen it, no, this is an edit. It's a cutout of the full chat. It's just enlarged there.
Oh, really?
Over the screen, yeah.
They're different, I think.
It's not timed. It's not timed the same way.
But it sounds like based on this clip, You knew that it was bullshit, and you just went with it anyway. Ethan Klein uses this very deceptively edited video that is just like doing this smooth scroll to make it seem like that's all of Denham's chat. But that's not what it is. And then when he's called out on it, he hides it. He moves his window over the real chat.
Also, this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe and deadly to small children. I mean, much like many other illnesses,
Reading the chat,
it's
co-signing
very,
it.
very, very dangerous.
Now pay
So I would
attention
assume
to
he doesn't
her
actually
chat.
have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And he has kids, and his kids like...
Why does it have to be anyone else's fault but your own? Take some fucking responsibility. It's just so bizarre that Ethan would expect Anise and I to make a statement when Denham's herself already made a statement about it and said,
Well, we really have to address it when Denham already addressed it at the time. The person who wants to have the ability to get away with lying and bullying and harassing, yeah, I should take her word for it, guys. Trust me, trust me, trust me. She said she was sorry. Even Steven Universe would tell you to fuck off, bro.
Said that she does not condone calling CPS.
So we're talking about CPS. 1, I don't condone. 2, I've never condoned it, and you will not be able to find a clip of me saying,
I didn't condone it on camera, but nobody knows what goes on my offline chat. The offline chat that we all hear about from every broadcaster. The chat room where they will talk to dirt and to filth about their personal friends whenever they're live on a chat room. The conversations that people never see or never hear about because they do not talk about them openly and actively. And if they were to, they would not be willing to go all the way out there and say something about it because they do not want you to know what they say when they're broadcasting to the places they're broadcasting to, when these talking points and these arguments come up whenever they mention them. And when they do mention it, well, I said it in a Discord chat. Who wants to be the brave soldier who wants to go into the Discord and find out how many slurs she said? While we're looking up this. It'll be really funny. Give me a fucking break. How many times have we gone through this with Vosh and Kira Chats before we realize, oh, they say I didn't confirm it, and they say I didn't do it, but actually they did. It's just that they then caught it, and then they started sanitizing the chats so that this information couldn't be recorded anymore.
yes, we should do this because it doesn't exist. I've literally given Ethan Klein credit on multiple times or multiple instances, and I will do it again right now, for not showing photos of his kids.
Part of my criticisms of Ethan initially was the openness. I think it's a problem that you were that open, Ethan.
Well, you know I'm very open about everything. It's part of how I wanted to conduct myself. And
public-facing content creator. That's the only response I should have to give, or anyone would have to give. Open, public-facing content creator. By all means, the same advice I get from other people as well. It's something that Star's broken me down on, because she wants to post cute pictures. I don't want his face out there, because the first thing that's going to happen is that the most deceitful jackass is going to try to find a way to put that child in the middle of the drama, because they do not give a shit. Public-facing creator. Public figures. Public-facing creator. Public figures.
And how I wanted to relate to the audience is to be open as possible about every fucking thing in my life.
It is not strictly a benefit to be as open as possible on your podcast.
Ethan was just sharing his thoughts, what we were thinking, we were speculating.
Sonny's crawling around, he's putting everything in his mouth, he's at that age, he has giardia.
We were speculating.
And now, Ela has giardia.
Shut.
Be open as possible about every fucking thing in my life.
Yeah. Really? How many siblings do you have? I don't know, dude. The internet's too fucking weird to give out all that information.
Oh, you don't even want to say how many because you're afraid that it will
by all means,
compromise
keep
your
talking
privacy.
about it.
On top of Ethan characterizing me and my wife as anti-Semitic, he also takes a dig at my tattoos.
Bro, you literally look like a fucking free tattoo pack that you get for 25 cents from a windy thing, bro. Like, literally, my kids have cooler fucking tattoos from Chuck E. Cheese. Bro looks like he just went to the menu and was like, I'll take that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one.
I have quite a few options here. I can show your tattoos in all of their glory, or I can show that your tattoo made it to the top of awful taste but great execution subreddit, which is not a good thing. I mean, it might be a good...
Making fun of your tattoo on Reddit. Ah! Redditors! Redditors, make fun of him! Redditors, please make fun of him and his woman! Redditors, back me up here, Redditors!
Big thing for the artists that you work with, because that means that they did a good job from a technical standpoint, but it's sort of a failure in every other aspect, particularly the decision-making aspect. If you want to go tattoo for tattoo, Ethan, we can do that. You want to keep it to other things? We
Unironically trying to go band for band over fucking pictures.
can. I'll give you that option. Ethan also talks about the potential CTE that I might have after boxing.
Yes.
Ethan, your whole system is scrambled.
No, your brain is scrambled from getting punched in the face too many times because you don't understand the situation. Some people are saying the CTE is starting to take effect, I guess. That would be comforting if there was some explanation at least.
Any amount of CTE that I may have endured after doing 2 boxing matches, I'm going to say is preferred over having to share the load of doing 50 jumping jacks with my wife.
Yeah. What if we we'll both do 25 at once?
25 each?
Oh my goodness. Great form by both. Really nice. They must work out.
Also, why are you talking about CTE at all? Like, you continually illustrated that you can't keep track of anything.
It came up because they were talking about it on their fucking podcast. By the way, they're the ones that like started this conversation by talking about it on the podcast. Be like, hey, I'm not getting involved.
I think that was their response after you guys initially called them out.
He can't even keep straight who attacked who first. He thinks that our podcast where we're expressing sympathy for him and Hila was the impetus for him talking shit about us. I much prefer boxing-induced CTE than harassment-induced CTE. Ethan acts like we're such great friends and that like he shared such intimate moments with me, but it's all horseshit. He's lying. Like the whole thing is a fucking lie. He's manipulating his audience. We did not have a close relationship.
You guys were buddies for a long time.
He texted me like one time like, hey dude, we should talk this out. And I was like, I don't feel like having this conversation right now. That's it. So he kept trying to get me on the phone or text with me. And I told him, dude, honestly, I don't feel like having this conversation right now.
Okay.
Fair, right? I just didn't want to do it.
Just in that particular moment,
and then
or like at all?
Well, it turns out I didn't want to talk to him at all.
Okay.
If the relationship was that close, you would have talked to me on the phone. You wouldn't have shit-talked me. You would be curious where my brain was at and where I was coming from. There's this moment in the Content Cop where I'm trying to give an example of the cycle of harassment. Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue with? It doesn't stop. It can literally go on forever if you don't want to touch grass.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of... Okay, what does that have to do with me?
I don't know.
Are you okay?
Ethan and Hila act like they have no idea what I'm talking about here. So, I mean, maybe they don't. It's a very obvious and easy to digest point. That's why I made it that way. I'm going to explain it here so everyone on the internet understands. When you have a podcast where you are constantly emotionally dumping and saying things just off the top of your head, and you're attacking other people randomly, maybe from your perspective it's not attacking. Maybe you're just commenting on someone else's situation.
He's got to be one of the most visually repulsive people. FaZe Banks, like, in my opinion, he's somewhat repulsive to look at.
And be
pedophile. Pirate Software was like weird about it. It's like, look at my old voice, it's so lame. What an obnoxious loser. She goes, I can't believe these people are so obnoxious. And he looked like an idiot who's obsessed with me, dude.
But what happens when other people comment on your situation? It doesn't feel too good, does it?
But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys, right?
I don't know if that's what the video is.
That is the back and forth I'm describing. You might have thought we were just saying that Ian and Anissa are bad friends. Well, guess what? We didn't take it that way.
Our POV is like, fuck,
and here comes the bit again.
Fuck everybody, and I don't want to hear any excuses. You're not my friend, and you never were, and you never will be. You never will be.
What we took it as is Ethan and Neil are shit-talking us. They just implied that we are okay with people using CPS as harassment, and now...
You didn't say that you weren't, and you also just high-key admitted that you were never friends with him even when you were recording the content you used to do with him in the past. So, that matters for nothing.
Now all of their fans are brigading us. So I am going to respond in kind and make a content cop. So yes, that is what the cycle of harassment looks like.
Okay, what does that have to do with...
No, the cycle harassment looks like what happened to me when I was playing Once Human. Somebody decides they don't like me. I address that person. That person either uses social constraints or actively just lies where I can't see them or where they believe I can't see them or hear them. They then create a meta-narrative. They then festoon that meta-narrative multiple times over. Then, when it has boiled over to the point where they will not take any addressment except from the people who, in the case of where it's occurring and where it's being spread, can address the problem directly as they start hounding my stream, attacking my stream, stalking my stream, raiding my stream, that when I ban them and I remove them, I'm not even talking about them and I'm doing something completely unrelated to the person in question. They have people who are stalking the content to tell them what I'm doing on my content, despite the fact that I'm reacting to the person who's very clearly barging in to get attention and then being removed from said attention when that person does the thing the person was doing to me, which I'll just refer to right here, because it's still there. It's in the review. It's why it's part of that section between what is Once Human and what is not Once Human. When that person gets to the point where they're demanding through a mutual friend who's also the moderator of the server where the harassment is occurring, where they are choosing to stalk me, attack me, and speak down on my name, as they use the benefit that is the work of my effort and of my knowledge to improve their gameplay, and they then say something like this.
It was me.
I don't know.
How about you fucking...
Clicked on the wrong thing.
Like, I wonder if you have anything mental going on? Which, I mean, this isn't like an insult or anything. Because, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing if you do. But I'm wondering that. That's what I'll do. I'm also gonna go eat my pizza.
Oh, he can't even stay to hear what I have to say back to it. That's cool.
Server anymore. Well, I mean, you did the same thing to me earlier when you left. But I mean,
No, actually, I walked out into the hallway and then I walked back into the hallway. I could hear the entire time.
Again. Goodbye, Carl.
Once Human. When a person acts like that and effectively tells you that you're schizophrenic and you're crazy and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, despite being the ones that are creating the fiction to continue the harassment, that's what a cycle of violence looks like. They're allowed to start the violence, but they're never capable of addressing the violence. Or, when they project problems onto you, they create a situation publicly where everybody can see it instead of privately, where they can speak to the matter to you directly for, and litigate the problem through other people. Another way that harassment looks like is it looks like what was being done to Pirate Software with OnlyFans. And for that, I made a tweet about that. I could just pull that one up real fucking quick. Because no matter how people go about addressing that problem, that continues to be a thing that keeps happening no matter how many people speak about it. Because people are very, very obsessed with wanting to make it a personal drama that they're forever fucking stuck in. From right here. I don't get the pile on. He does annoying personality quirks, but just low stakes stuff like being a bad teammate or reading chat clues during a single player puzzle game. In reference to this conversation that Dr. K had with Pirate Software about him, with the quote from Yeet, who retweeted parts of it, being something about the way that I hear you talk that rubs me the wrong way. To which I broke down, no, it's not about that. They hate him because he's a popular creator, or in this case, the instance being, you're a person who's known in the space in which is being discussed or being frequented. In the case of this, Ethan Klein and iDubbbz matters there. For me, with my OnlyFans, with my Once Human content, it is me being one of the few streamers that's actually streaming the game actively every day for 6 to 16 hours a day, and the same would be for the video I just covered about Overwatch into Marvel Rivals with Necros in the entirety of the support base, or those who want to be vocal about the support base, coming at towards them. The intent amongst those people, still living 3 or 4 months now, want to perpetually live within the drama because they saw a content creator whose shorts and clips were everywhere get brought down a peg because they wanted an excuse to attack them. And the fact that they are continuing to do so to this day, which comes with this from the material that is on the site, which, looking at this, Dr. K theorizes why people perceive Thor as arrogant, where people are then posting the same reaction clips they've been posting every single fucking time. Do you know that he worked at Blizzard for 7 years? 7 years? In his defense, they only teach how to be humble at year 8 at Blizzard. He thinks he's smarter than everyone. Literally everyone. Sometimes you gotta humble yourself. Did he know that he had enough mana to do that? That's the cycle of violence. That's the cycle of harassment. That's what it looks like when people have just decided what the narrative is about you, despite the fact that it's the furthest thing from the truth. That's what a cycle of harassment looks like. You do the exact same shit on She Ruined My Life podcast. And when people mock you for the shit you put out there, as you're literally putting out a list of things for you to be embarrassed about, suddenly it's not that way when it's you, but it is that way when it's him. Despite the fact it's happening like that to you, because that's the energy you reach to every single event with. And you never take accountability about the fact that the harassment is not coming from people having an opinion. It is coming from people forcing an opinion. Somebody says a word, they then have a back and forth conversation, blase in the comments, and they move on. That's not a cycle of harassment. A cycle of harassment is that you keep pulling it into attention. You keep litigating it. You keep trying to deal with it in this matter. In this situation, I'm using what I have on tape because I recorded how the person was doing it and behaving with it. Because it started with them. The moment that person rage quit the game because they were no longer able to cheese and use other people's territories to his own, where everybody fucking stopped caring, when he finally was punished for his behavior, was the moment that it stopped. Because there was finally a consequence for their action. And it was the lightest punishment. They were given a temporary restriction. And because they were not given the full litigation and the full support of basically the moderator staff to say, well, Carl's too violent. He has to be silenced in the middle of this debate. But instead, this is how he's acting. Oh, wow, Carl, I didn't realize they were making personal attacks on you like this. Let's stop it now. Just like how the Unsubscribed podcast is showing, did you guys want to focus on the drama about him, or did you want to talk about the kids? When the narrative moved away from, here's this person bringing us bad news, to, oh, shit, we can't bury the news and talk about this person, we actually have to address the other thing, that's how you break the cycle of violence. It's a vicious circle, like any vicious circle. And the only way to address it directly is to address it directly to the people who caused it. You caused this with your words, your actions, your lack of research into the details. And now you're just trying to cover your ass. This is abysmal for you. And I love that. Because you are definitely a person who is the biggest kind of bully who does it. Anybody could be. Because parasocial relationships on the internet make some people feel that they need to crash out for other people. For those people who know the person personally, they can do that. If they have to advocate for them because they don't feel comfortable talking to the person directly, or they don't want to have the interaction directly, and they want to play messenger bird between the two parties. But one-to-one, you didn't want to address it because you didn't want to get involved. You wanted it to pass by you. You let the shit happen, and when you could have said something and say, listen, I don't like what he's been doing, but y'all motherfuckers need to cut the fuck out, you didn't do that. Because if you did, they would have turned on you. And they would have continued the cycle of violence onto you. And looked into things for you to be embarrassed about. And then they would have done the same dirtbag leftist tactics on you. Then Mega PA would be calling for your head. Then Denims would be calling for your head. Frogan would be calling for your head. Sean the Black would call you a slur based on where you live and based on Nisa. You wouldn't be throwing out your Muslim status or her Muslim status as a cosign. You would be doing the exact same thing Ethan is doing, which is defending himself from all directions. And the person who's supposed to be a friend, that even if he doesn't talk to him all that time, he could be able to rekindle it, you demonstrate that you're not that person. So, you're just flat out lying by every direction that matters. With examples. Again, a liar and a coward. Back to it.
The Nazis, how about that?
You might think that all of the harassment you're getting has everything to do with your politics and your idea of Israel-Palestine, but a lot of my gripes were centered around you dragging me into your shit. You know, you
dragging me, not them dragging you by proxy of you becoming friends with them. Crazy.
Knew that you were going through a lot, and you were saying, I'm hurting, I'm now going to make them hurt because they're not putting their head on the chopping block. Fuck you, you're a piece of shit. I'm sure there's anti-Semitic people that are attacking you guys, but they're not me, they're not Anissa, it's not Hassan, it's not all of these other...
Inbred crazy, pills. Those aren't attacks on his personality.
Creators that you're attacking. You're not the biggest victim on the internet, Ethan. Other people can experience a horrible fucking time. And guess what? They're not getting this other benefit, which is 26,000 viewers. You're getting a lot of money and a lot of content, a lot of things that you care
So are they.
about from these beefs and from this harassment. There are a lot of people that you've just bullied and they have nothing to gain out of it. Frogan isn't making a bag from this. She's not getting content.
Yes she is. The fuck do you mean? She 100% getting money out of it. She's getting money. Denim's getting money. Frogan's getting money. Sean's getting money. Any leftist dirtbag that wants to just pile on to Ethan Klein because Ethan Klein's a big bully we can all attack for free and nobody's going to defend him are getting money. Cool.
Out of this, you're attacking her in relentless ways and endorsing so much worse harassment than what even you send her way.
The shit he said and posted about Frogan over the past years is like insanely nasty shit.
Yeah.
Worse than anyone I've seen. If this is true, absolutely mind-blowing, insane shit.
Hold on, it's not worse than anything you've seen. How could it be worse than anything you've seen?
Literally, no. I guess
He was
not.
very nasty. Well, I'm just saying, people like fucking want to like get lay down and fucking like.
I'm talking about specifically against Frogan.
But like he called her fat, right, and ugly, which is horrifically mean. I get called a fucking baby killer.
I was talking specifically about
That's way
Frogan.
worse than being called fat and ugly, in my opinion.
Also, on top of Ethan and Neela constantly victimizing themselves, I did notice that as soon as we didn't immediately jump to Ethan and Neela's defense, Ethan took that to heart and he started to make that his employees' problems. Instead of just, sucking it up and taking on himself, he decided to imply that Lena is going to have a problem with that.
A lot of this has ramifications for the crew. The way that they have it set up is basically, if Lena were to drop out, she would lose, she would have to pay back $25,000 or something insane. And besides that, which I told her I would cover if she wanted to drop out, she's been working really hard. And just because I'm having an issue with what's going on here,
You bringing up Lena dropping out of the fight was you publicly showing to your fans, I don't approve of this. You were saying this shit before the content copy even came out.
which I told her I would cover if she wanted to drop out.
But now you are saying that you didn't have a problem with any of it until I made the video.
I was totally on board until the organizer put out a video calling me a psychopath for harassing his friend.
Obviously, Ethan and Neela will victimize themselves every chance they get. But when they have the chance to victimize someone else who's on their crew, they'll also do that.
You already forced Lena into this horrible situation. And again, you forced this situation on her, B.
Why would I do such a thing to Lena? Dude, you have as much agency as I do. You didn't have to badmouth me on your podcast. That was a choice that you made.
So go fuck yourself.
And back to the clips.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
Oh, the organizers of this event are not jumping to my defense? All right, well, maybe instead of shit-talking them, maybe I should zip it.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree. You already forced Lena into this horrible situation. And again, you forced this situation on her. By the way, iDubbbz, Lena's fucking having a panic attack.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
But you're just lobbing it to me and Anissa. I'm lobbing it back to...
Considering the fact that Lena and AB were supposed to be friends with Frogan, and Frogan decided to burn that bridge, that also coming up after this. It's all my fault. You're just blaming me. Crash out, you're just blaming me. There's this thing about bombs, my dude. They have collateral. You put collateral on them. What are they supposed to do?
To you. You're the one who brought it up. If you lob it back to me and you say, well, I didn't have your back publicly. Well, fuck you. I'm going to lob it back and say, you're being irresponsible on your podcast, and you're not taking any accountability for the shit you're putting out online. I think that's going to do it for this video. There's a lot more that I can share, but I'll save that for the future. And in closing, I will reiterate so that, there's no ambiguity about it. Anissa and I are no longer involved in Creator Clash. We're stepping down completely. We hope...
that's the thing you need to reiterate. Just so you guys remember, so that anytime in the future and I get harassed about this, I'm not directly involved with Creator Clash, so you can't blame that to me. Please leave me alone. I just want to cry about the fact that me and my wife are going to be irrelevant.
Hope that the event is a massive success this year. We hope that all of the fighters get what they wanted out of it. I'm sorry that I'm such a fucking nasty person who just wants to roll around in the shit. I'll put the link to Creator Clash down in the description if you want to support them in their mission to get creators to fight and raise money for charity. You can do that down there. I will be doing that on my own, and I hope you guys have a good time.
You'll be doing that on your own implies that you're doing it on behalf of the business. But you just said you'd removed all ties and that you're not responsible for it and that it can be given to the partners. Why are you involving yourself in something that the partners can be able to do? Curious.
Also, for all the people who touch grass, I want to remind you to click the like button on this video. Not so it goes in your algorithm or anything, just specifically so that we can add a counter narrative or I can get an idea of how much astroturfing is out there, because I know that a lot of these fuckers, they love their dislike button extensions. And I saw that shit and I was like, what the fuck? These are all like fabricated numbers. The like-dislike ratio was like 80-20 on my video, and then they tried to create a narrative like, no, people actually hate this content cop, guys. It's actually so much worse. Like, bitch, like, people were more upset with, like, my wife being on OnlyFans. You're not gonna convince the internet that fucking Ethan Klein isn't being a piece of shit. Like, sorry, guys. It doesn't matter how many dislike extensions you have.
We can free Palestine without being a Nazi, okay? Yeah, fuck you guys too, okay? How about you fucking Nazis? How about that?
It's blatantly and obviously fucking disingenuous. This shit blew my fucking mind. Like, this is fucking insane. And, like, dangerous. He is going out of his way to slander you as a neo-Nazi. Like, that can get you hurt.
Thank you, Ethan Klein. You are my best friend. You are the rent payer. You are the legend.
I apologize for the white pasty man that you're seeing on your screen. I am not in control of the fact that he made this.
Thank you, Ethan Klein. You are my best friend. You are the rent payer. You are the legend.
A full Yoinky Swinker video. A true piece of unintelligible content made by an individual acting unintelligibly. Now, first, we're going to deal with the fact that I have a pseudo-Hawaiian to kill, and then we're going to get back to you with the nitty-gritty. Mainly because I can't pause. I can pause in Path of Exile 2. I can't pause in Path of Exile 1. Tukohama!
The soil wants for your blood no more.
Alright. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of the bullshit that is really fucking annoying, but is really funny. So, there are several things. Let's start off with the important one. The really, really funny ones. Timeline. Scrolling my timeline. So, the main one here, first clicks go to Rev Says Desu. iDubbbz was caught in that lie. In his latest video, he claimed that YouTube dislike extension was extremely inaccurate concerning his H3 content crop and said that the real like-to-dislike ratio was actually 80-20 with no proof. He then shared a screenshot providing analysis from a previous video at a 6.41 ratio, 61.7, excuse me, dyslexia. At a 61.7 ratio. However, the YouTube dislike extension showed that the same video had a 61.37% ratio. iDubbbz, in his infinite wisdom, just proved that the YouTube dislike extension is accurate within a fraction of a percentage, discrediting his claims to dismiss the extremely negative feedback directed towards his latest content cop and anyone trying to make similar claims. Bye, Bolster. So, as we can see here, as I blow this up bigger, you can see what would be the likes on the side of the website, and then the likes on the side of the content deputy, and then the likes on the side of his other video about sex workers from 5 years ago when he was getting roasted for Anissa having an OnlyFans, and his sad face for that material, which then comes
Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here.
from this
Just when you
2-hour video, 2-hour 21-minute video posted by Red Says Desu, where they go over the comments and the considerations that it came from, as well as a little bit over the timeline. The fact that there's undeniable evidence that the system works. Ooh, that must suck. But now let's talk about your fighters, bro. So, back when I said I shouldn't laugh, there's more to get into. I need a button for Horror's voice. It gets worse. All of the material important to communication comes from none other than fucking Freddie Wong. Get that one clip! Freddie Wong drops a long message in the Creator of Clash Fighter Discord asking about communication, event reputation, how to promote without getting hate, drop the fighter replacements, as well as pay disparity and more, with the overall opinion being our current trajectory does not instill confidence. Freddie Wong, in general, I'll record it for you later. Thank you, Horror. Illustrious fellow warriors and event handlers, I hope everyone's getting a good day's rest in. In the wake of the new announcement video detailing the change of ownership and structure of Creator Clash, or, to be more accurate, the brief statement detailing changes in ownership structure of Creator Clash, followed by 28 minutes of continued relitigation of what I'll charge we call internet nonsense. Pause. They didn't get told about this in the Discord. They're learning the same way people who work for Disney find out about their jobs. On the timeline! Fucking imbeciles! Resume. There remain some lingering questions that I, as well as I suspect other fighters, would appreciate clarity on. Point 1. As noted in my previous message, I would expect communication with the fighters to be at the absolute top of your priority list, as I don't believe any of us enjoy finding out about substantive developments via 15-second clips from muckraking Twitter accounts. What is the communication strategy and cadence we can expect from the organization moving forward, and how do we ensure we, the people who signed up to get punched in the head, receive information ahead of the general public? Point 2. Ian noted in his video that I can't really have my taking you to two. You're either going to talk shit like a foul beast on the internet or you're going to have a charity event. You can't really be both. End quote. Does this mean that we expect continuing back and forth post-separation? While I don't need all the minutiae of the separation agreement, are there non-disparagement or broader agreements in place to protect Creator Clash's reputation and public standing? Point 3. What are the plans to proactively address the comment miasma that, at least for me, disincentivizes any social media comms, as I prefer to spend my time training and not slogging through the comment output of internet morons parroting the talking points of the streamer that they pledge allegiance to? AKA, that's a nice opinion. What broadcaster did you get that from? How are we reasonably expected to promote the event? Which is a fair question, because if you want to make the event better, there is some form of back and forth interaction you can have between people to build up the drama of the event. And I don't mean no corporate, can't wait to have boxing match. I mean some real dirty dog shit that would be welcome inside of wrestling. Point 4. What are the plans and projected timetables in regards to finding replacements for the dropped fighters, and what is the strategy behind how they will be rolled out? On the onset of the event, the character of the individuals in the fight card was a major factor in my participation. What say do we, the fighters, have in this decision? What assurances do we have that whoever gets recruited doesn't bring more controversy and negative attention to the event? Point 5. Do we plan on continuing to honor the commitment and the pay parity amongst the fighters? And does that restrict the organization's ability to feasibly find replacements this close to the event? In other words, if we're paying everyone the same, do we think that that amount is going to be enough to commit a fighter-ready heavyweight and a welterweight willing to withstand the crossfire by being in the midst of an aforementioned internet nonsense? Point 6. Moving forward, what are the plans and predicted timetable to market and promote the event? Who's taking on the lead of this? An individual within an organization? A PR agency? Can you provide an outline of the comms approach given the current situation we're in? Point 7. What is the timetable for updating social media and the event website to more accurately reflect our current lineup? While I appreciate the desire to ensure all outward comms of substantial information, I note that the longer everything is out of date, the more we invite further ridicule and the more chaotic the event seems. And what seems to be the wrap-up of his finality for the main idea. Final paragraph. Having my run of shares of organizations at various scales, I can appreciate the complexity of internal versus external comms, cadence, and tone. However, I believe I speak for all of us when I say that the current strategy of zero prior communications or heads up internally to the fighters is an unacceptable methodology moving forwards. Providing dates for upcoming announcements without any information as to the content of those announcing isn't enough. Or of the content of those announcements isn't enough. Our current trajectory does not instill confidence, and I look forward to hearing about what substantive changes we plan to implement. Finally, I'd like to stretch that I speak here for myself, but I encourage my other buff gladiators to chime in. I'm tired of stressing out about the stuff in the dark. Let's shred about this stuff together. In your attempts to talk your shit to your ex-friend, I guess at this point, you were neglected to do your job, even on your way out of the door. Drama first, security and success of the event second. They find out at the moment you drop your fucking unworthy content deputy. Ah, ain't it cute? I bet Freddie Wong appreciated that shit. What did he call it again? Oh yeah, that's right. Air quote. Went too far back. Air quote, internet nonsense. That's what he called it. iDubbbz. You're cooked, buddy. If people want to make fun of you because you're going to be a potential cuck, should your woman want to continue contributing to the amount of content she makes with her body, they're going to call you a fucking idiot because you just threw the fucking bomb of what was supposed to be your reprisal into getting into the greater echelons and hopes with other content creators. Too bad that doesn't work. Now you're going to go out worse than Adam Tutu in the plug. Truly, Yoko Ono'd. Truly Yoko Ono'd. And it's all your own fucking fault. You absolute goddamn mongoloid. You deserve every bit of what's happening to you and everything else more that comes. May the Lord give you everything you deserve, which is nothing. Yeah. Egg on his face does not begin to explain how bad this is for him. Truly is. Truly is. Meanwhile, slow update. It appears that both Hassan Abi and Micah PA are immune to reports on Twitch. This is very quick, very dirty. Basically, as I understand it, when you report a person on the platform, there's an internal error that is returned when you attempt to put their names in. You can find it right here. A person went to the report section and attempted to report the user, avatar, channel points, panel tags, etc. for terrorism. They put in activity supports terroristic groups, and the report returns an internal error. Multiple people tried instantly on the spot VOD or highlight terrorism, justified Houthi and Hamas terrorism during the consular segment. Exhibit report, internal error. It doesn't surprise me that this is being done. There's also the reports that show that it's being done for Michael PA. I retweeted those earlier, but I need to go scroll down my timeline to go find them. Give me a moment. Here we are. Post can be found here, also from Neat. User, avatars, channel points, channel tags, etc. Hateful content, threatening violence, threatened H3, and said he will only learn when he is bleeding. Internal error. And, as I mentioned earlier, the comment in question that was made. Fat ass Mike from PA was in fact making terroristic threats against Ethan Klein's life.
Something. Can I say something? Can I say something? And it's I really like that these people did this, but I gotta be honest, with my experience in life with people like Ethan, the only thing that ever knocks them out of their fucking spiraling is the rod. It's the stick. It's not the carrot. Like he feels like he's bullying you. He feels like he's hurting you. He's not going to stop until he's bleeding out of the corner of his mouth. And I get it. I want to be empathetic. Like, I understand the value of empathy. I understand the value of trying to reach out to someone. But somebody like Ethan, he needs to see some stars before he's going to fucking back down. You know? And so I just would not do this. Like, and I know that a lot of them have since come out and said, well, that didn't work, because they legitimately tried. And so I don't think that they were wrong to try this. It's just with people like Ethan Klein, until he feels the pressure, he's not going to stop.
It is a wazy, crazy, wild, and wacky world over here on the side of Twitch, but that's why we're YouTube boys. I feel sad for the Twitch audience because that's the shit we get, and that's the fucking claims that we have to deal with. This is what we get represented by. We don't get represented by the amount of content that has come through on the website, because that fucking culture is long dead since gone. These are the people who are suffused in the culture. It's terrorism supporting, and internet drama to attack people who are not pro-terrorism. Crazy world we live in! Crazy world we live in. And boy, would you look at the time. It's already 10 minutes to 5. I need to go prepare dinner. I will be back, and we will be getting into Ratchet & Clank, so that we can continue getting into Ratchet & Clank 4, and then continue getting into some Expedition 33, because I'm very certain people are hours ahead of me now, unfortunately. But, until then, I'm Carl, you're my chat, and I'll see you next time. I'm going to read y'all in funny papers, and I'm billing each and every one of you for my therapy. Shabbat shalom, motherfuckers! My knees hurt. Ah! And let's get a salute for each of y'all. And if you are a person inside of the Discords that would like to get in on this server that is currently being played for Community Group Gaming, you can be able to find the link inside of my Discord and inside of Geistwind in the promotional section, and inside of my Discord, inside of the polls and announcements as well. See y'all in like, what, an hour and 10 minutes?